Hey, everybody, it's Tuesday, February 13th, 2024. Welcome to the Giant Bombcast, episode 827. I am your host this week, and I am also powered by NZXT, Jan Shoa, riding the lightning of news and other stuff that rhymes with news. Shoes, Jeff Grubb.
I've never been electrocuted by lightning. I have been electrocuted multiple times by a garage door.
The most electrifying man in all of games entertainment, Dan Reichert.
That's right.
If you smell low. Yeah, that's all I got, really. I don't really have a nickname or anything. I just want to see if I can do the la la la. It's not like rolling a tongue. You just say la 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 a lot. It's not really that impressive.
It's not as impressive when you break it down into
it's
it's
base
just him
parts.
saying la la a lot into a mic. Yeah.
The most musical man on this website and on this podcast. He's singing la 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 constantly while he's visualizing apples and theorizing whether or not Dan got struck by lightning. Jeff Bakalar.
That's all correct. Hello, friends. How goes it? How we doing on this Tuesday? Lovely Tuesday.
Yo, everyone listening right now, it's February 13th. If you haven't made plans or done stuff for Valentine's Day, if you have a significant other, keep listening to this podcast and go do those things right now. Leave work, but keep listening to this podcast.
Code for something in the ads. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah, get a PC for your significant other. That'll come like a couple weeks later.
I did get something off the TikTok shop. Apparently, like they're gonna. I got something for my wife.
My wife.
Thank you. And my two kids. And apparently they're gonna open it. And there's like a little cake inside, but a bunch of like paper butterflies.
Oh, those are legit.
Okay, that's what.
How
it
do
looks
they
pretty good.
propel?
So I think like yes, Jan, you might know better than me.
So Dan, how they are? It's they're like rubber banded. So you twist them, right? And then like you hold them in place. The box will hold them in place, and once you open it, it'll release that pressure. So like it'll just keep spinning and spin away, like a little propelly boy.
What do you search for if you want to get a bunch of those?
God, I will send it to you, and I'll let you know.
I like that. That's a good gimmick.
Fun.
Yes,
Next time,
it'll be like an event, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
that's Valentine's Day covered for me.
That's awesome.
whenever it's Mike Minotti's turn for Blake Club again, we need to somehow pack the box with those butterflies just to scare him.
Oh, that'd be cute.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, he
I'd be
doesn't
into
listen to
that.
podcasts, does he?
No, he's not actively listening right
Especially when
now.
you talk about him.
Yeah,
he's
we
a
mentioned
very
he's gonna
modest
stay
man.
away. Yeah, he's
I
like
mean, the
Adam
vanity
Driver.
levels are just zero on that guy.
Yeah. His ego is a complete zero. Just like
Yeah, absolutely.
He's the Adam Driver of Giant Bomb. He will never watch or listen to himself in anything. Yeah.
After Annette, after y'all watched Annette, I think so. I would say that he is the Adam Driver of the
I think
Giant
about that
Bombcast.
movie every day, Dan.
Right. Really?
Yeah.
And that
frequently.
every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a good father.
I didn't know Adam Driver is like that. I didn't know he doesn't. He won't.
Yeah.
watch
Oh, he's
his own
like most
performances.
like that. He was on that Terry Gross show on NPR, and they like played a clip of him. It's not. Yeah, thank you, Fresh Air. It's like not even a video clip. It's just like an audio clip, and he has to take off his headphones and like wait until it's done before you can put him back on because he just cannot stand it.
Do you think he thinks he's a good actor though? If he can't watch
I gotta
himself,
imagine by this point he's convinced that
I hope so.
He's a desirable actor.
let's get
People
Adam
want
Driver
him.
in the dump truck. You know,
Oh, for
I
sure.
bet he's played games. How old is he?
He's around our age. I
Yeah.
think. Maybe a little
Wasn't he
younger.
in the
Grew up,
Marines?
he had an NES. He's 40 years old. He's like my age. He grew up with an
definitely had
NES.
an
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was in the Marines. So he was definitely in the military of some sort.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Do they let you like bring Game Boy Advances or anything?
Yes.
If you're in war?
Isn't there a Game Boy in the Nintendo store in New York that was in
it was in Iraq.
Desert Storm?
Yeah.
It was in
Yeah.
Desert Storm, and they're like,
Yes,
look
it's
at
all
this
fucked
fucking,
up.
it's melted, it still works. I'm like,
They
hell
took
yeah,
it. They
Game
took
Boys
it down,
rule.
but they did have that for a while. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, apparently.
Okay.
The Super Bowl was this past weekend. I don't know if any of y'all
right.
have any feelings about it. I'm still
Right.
devastated
Sorry,
and
Jan.
broken inside.
Sorry, bud.
It's all right.
I'm from Kansas City, but I won't rub it in. So.
It's okay, Dan. I completely understand. It's not like
That's
the
right.
Niners have been there multiple times in the past decade and, just not captured the gold. I don't think we're ever going to finish their story. I'm sorry, Kyle Shanahan.
I feel bad about that, Jen. To get to the final, the
The
Super Bowl,
mountaintop.
and just
final
to
Super Bowl.
lose, you know,
And to have
lose
Patrick,
a lot.
I missed that story.
to have Patrick Mahomes pull your leg down from the ladder and then just climb over you and get the belt. Oh.
You know what's weird? I was watching the Super Bowl, and the people I was there with were like, "Oh, at halftime after Usher, everyone was like, "Oh, Chiefs are gonna win this game like easily." And I was like, Why do you know that?
Because Patrick Mahomes.
That's what they do. It's like they were down by like 7.
They lose and then win, which is cool, I guess.
I mean, it's just the game's not over. If the game's not over, Patrick Mahomes is going to win. Like that's just how it is these days.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
Yep.
Yeah, he does sound like Kenny Powers too. Someone pointed that out to me.
Yeah, Kenny Powers and Kermit the Frog. Yeah,
it's
all of them.
insane.
Oh
it's
my
absolutely
God.
insane how much he sounds like Kenny Powers.
And someone actually did it that video of like they had a Kenny Powers like clip playing, and they like somehow like matched it up so it looked like Patrick Mahomes was talking, and I was like, that's just what he's saying. And then they showed that it was actually Kenny Powers. I'm like, oh my God, they sound exactly alike.
Yeah. Pretty.
Do you guys have a favorite commercial? I mean, is this something
that kind of sucked? I realized that like I watch the Super Bowl every year, but like when did it turn into every commercial just being like, here's 8 celebrities and they're doing something weird?
And last year was
30
definitely
years. I don't know.
It wasn't that saturated. Like there were like clever ideas, and it wasn't all filled with like, here's Jason Momoa, here's
definitely in the last 2 years, it's been every commercial is a celebrity thing. I will say the Michael Cera one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Pretty good.
Well, wasn't that Eric Warheim?
That's Eric Warheim directed that. So it's like, okay, Eric Warheim directing a Super Bowl commercial. That's incredible.
It's not my.
I don't know. The commercials are more entertaining than the game for sure. From my position,
Sure.
I think I just think there's more value there.
Yo, some drama that got started within this household was, the halftime performance by Usher. Great, I love Usher baby.
Yeah.
As soon as that man busted out the skates, I'm like, look at this guy.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
That was very exciting.
That was so cool.
My partner lost her shit as soon as Alicia Keys made the surprise run-in. And then, Alicia Keys has been married for an extended period of time to rapper producer Swizz Beatz. I think they have children together. And then Usher Raymond gets a little too close for comfort.
The hand around there?
The hand around there, and then like the cuddle, and then like, both like my partner and I were like, they're enjoying this too much. They've been transported back to 2004 where they did this song together. And then in my head, I'm like, man, Swizz Beatz is like crushing a soda can somewhere, upset.
And it was Swizz Beatz from the NBA Street soundtrack, of course.
Exactly.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
They both seemed like they were enjoying themselves, right?
That doesn't seem to be the issue for Swizz Beatz.
Well, for Jan, apparently.
I'll say that Usher seems like a sexual force of nature. Like you kind of you're gonna put people on a stage with him. It's just gonna happen.
Yeah,
he's gonna hug you.
Like Prince.
He's like Prince. Yeah.
Because my partner and I, we went to Vegas and we saw his residency, and that whole show was basically just a strip club performance.
Right.
And then like, God bless the older elderly woman behind me. But as soon as like Usher like ripped his shirt off and was like body rolling, she was like, "Oh my Lord, Usher Raymond, your mother is in attendance tonight." A literal pearl clutching. It was great.
I did pop very hard when Ludacris.
I was
of course he was there.
Same.
Yeah, I was worried they were going to do the montage thing where they do like 30 seconds of each song, and I thought they were going to do before Ludacris came in, but they had him and Lil Jon, so that was good.
It was really good. Yeah, Lil Jon
good.
too.
Yeah.
It ramped up in a real satisfying way, I thought.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Post Malone, of course, sang the national anthem, I believe.
With the guitar.
With a guitar, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I had to explain him to people. That's
Sure.
party after that.
Okay, what's the TLDR for Post Malone? How would you do that?
I just said he's a gamer.
He likes wrestling and made a song for Spider-Man.
I was like, he's just a gamer with face tattoos. He's pretty talented. Leave him alone.
Is he a SoundCloud guy? Is he one of these guys? I assume anyone that is musically popular today that has face tattoos first got started on SoundCloud.
I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
His early internet presence that I'm aware of is that he was a Minecraft YouTuber for a while.
Nice.
Damn. Okay.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So he's like Dib, basically.
Like Dib. Well, just like
trajectory for sure.
Timothy Chalamet, like he did Xbox controller mods.
Yeah.
Hey, I saw Wonka over the weekend,
and it's the best movie of 2023. We all slept on it.
Wonka is phenomenal.
I cried. Wow. I cried several times.
I cannot believe the task at hand that was laid out in front of a film's aspirations to attempt to tackle Willy Wonka, and this fucking movie stuck the landing in such an unbelievably incredible way.
So good.
Hats off to everyone and anyone indirectly and directly related to that film. Well done.
It is
It's
so
fucking great.
It's a Paul King joint. You trust the dude that has made Paddington 1 and 2 to make this.
My life now.
Oh, okay.
I trust this person. Wonka was spectacular.
The music in it is actually
check it out.
it's pretty decent as well.
Dude, everything about it, you're just sort of like, how did they fucking do all? It's so good. You're just like, man, you think like anyone who tries to do Wonka now is sort of dead on arrival, but no.
Hugh Grant's performance of that movie, fucking fantastic as well.
Yeah, it's great. Everything's great.
He's the Oompa Loompas, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Keegan-Michael Key. Oh my God, he was hilarious. Like,
yeah. Oh God.
everything is perfect.
Was that Olivia Colman in that movie?
Yes.
Oh God. Well, I mean, the coal meister, the coal miner. She's great. I love her.
It's
Bakalar, do you think you would be more excited about Avatar 3 if it was directed by the Paddington 2 guy?
I think that's started to come around on it. I'll tell you that.
What if all the Na'vi started wearing like red hats, like red bucket hats?
And they were all played by
Maybe.
Hugh Grant.
Maybe. Look.
What if they
What
if instead of wanting to connect with Awa, they wanted to connect with Marmalade?
Yeah, I mean that's a better ambition.
Okay.
That's a more right, I
Marmalade's
respect that
fucking
more.
real. It was made up nerd shit. Yeah.
Exactly. These guys are eating chocolate that's making them fly. Okay, we're not just like tail fucking. All right,
That's legal in your state now.
Was there
too,
tail
so.
fucking in 2? I don't think there was there?
No, I
They
think
took
they
the tail
laid
fucking
off
out.
of it.
Yeah, it was all in one. Yeah.
Well, it was implied because he had like 50 kids, but yeah.
Well, sure. I mean, you know what happened, but it's not
Yeah.
on screen. Yeah.
That's right. It's not on screen.
Yeah.
I also saw the Iron Claw.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah. Bakalar texted me, I didn't need to know that story. I didn't like it.
No, I didn't say that. I said I
yes,
didn't.
I could read it to you.
I said I did not need to know that story. This story is a goddamn nightmare.
You don't think there's a place to tell stories of tragedies in movies?
I just didn't want that. I didn't want to know this story. I do
Yeah.
not
And
want
the real
to know
story's
this
worse.
story.
The real story is actually
worse. They left out a whole brother suicide.
Even cooler. Even cooler. I mean, look, I guess like I'm not saying this story should be buried and none of us should know about it. I'm just saying I did not want to sit down and watch a movie about the most fucked up, terribly cursed family in the history of sports.
I guess it didn't surprise me as much just because like I knew what to expect going in. But
Right.
if you
Yeah,
go
I
in, what did you know going in about the
I knew
Monarchs?
that Zac Efron looked like He-Man.
Wait, you didn't know it was like a tragic story?
No, I mean,
Oh, dear.
Yeah, it hit me over the head like a ton of bricks.
No.
Well, like, I mean, I assumed, the dad in the beginning who's just like, his family's cursed. I'm like, oh, cool. Well, that's foreboding. Like,
It'd be like walking into it.
That's like starting that like United 93 movie and be like, oh, a cool airplane movie. I wonder what this is about.
That's
Like,
not okay.
like
That's
going
not
into
that's
a-
like the analogy.
No, I
That
think
like
the
that Killing Fields
Titanic-
movie, A Song of Silence, and expecting a musical, and it's just like, here's how we
Sure.
murdered all these people. It's like, oh my god.
Sure. Or starting Titanic and being like, look, can't wait to see this thing,
I
Doc.
love boats. Ooh, a big boat. Cool.
No, I think, this is worse than all of those things.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah.
Like,
It's bad.
Their version of
I-
Ric Flair is also just bad.
It is
that was the biggest
yeah,
tragedy of the
bad.
entire film. That person
Sure.
should be arrested.
It's not his
Yeah.
fault.
Okay.
He did the best he could. I mean, look, it wasn't a good impression, but hey, he got hired to do a role. He wasn't the right guy for
Yeah,
it.
there's a
It's not
lot
his
of
fault.
mistakes.
He's
A lot of
just getting
mistakes were
paid.
made. A lot of mistakes were made. I don't know what to say. Like we had to watch this in like 3 sittings, just how deeply uncomfortable it was. I kept looking over at Stacey, and I'm just like, I can't believe this also is happening now. Like what is actually what a feel good set that must have been. What an awesome shoot this all must have been for everyone involved. My God.
Not good.
And then on top of that, I told you I'm having to explain to her that like, no, it's all fake. Like there's not even like, no, everything is arranged. Everything is prearranged. She kept trying to find little hints in the movie that it was somehow still real.
They do that sometimes in like wrestling movies and
Yes,
depictions on
I
TV
said
where
that's
they
the
act like
movie, yeah.
it's like no, they're working.
It's the movie. They're trying to make movie magic.
They're like double kayfabe in there because when you're acting as a wrestler who's in the ring, that's double kayfabe, brother.
Yeah. I mean, Zac Efron was pretty good. I'll give him that.
Everybody was good.
I love Zac Efron.
Yeah, except the Ric Flair guy. But yeah. Fuck, man. That was dark. How to watch Wonka to cleanse the palate.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I spent the Super Bowl being called the notorious BHG by my father. He said that over and over and over again because, now follow the logic here, the Paul Reichert logic.
Oh, wait, just to clarify, the notorious BHG.
That's correct.
Follow the logic. How
early on,
the logic here?
He kept putting his Mountain Dew Major Melon on this thing on the couch that like goes in when you recline, and so it was like clearly going to spill on my carpet. And the Mountain Dew was, and so I was just nicely saying, "Oh, hey, please, can you put it on the coaster on the thing here?" And he goes, "Ooh, my fancy pants carpet! I don't want to spill on my carpet. I remember when you used to eat cheese dogs out of a shoebox, and now you're fancy pants. You're Mr. Better Homes and Gardens, notorious BHG here." And so
Better Homes and Gardens.
For like 4 hours, he's calling me the notorious BHG because I asked him to not spill Mountain Dew on my carpet.
Listen. I've talked a lot of shit about Paul Reichert. Okay. I'm walking it all back.
Oh, and God forbid, I made a cocktail, and he's like, "Oh, Mr. Cocktail, just drink a real man beer. Oh, I got to get my little pregnancy strip in this." And I was like, "What are you talking about, pregnancy strip?" He's like, "Oh, the stupid thing with all the lines on it." I was like, "The measuring cup?" It's like, what are you talking about? So yeah, that was a weekend full of getting shit for making a cocktail.
Oh man!
Well, what did you make though, Dan?
About cheese dogs out of a shoebox? What was that?
No, I want to know what cocktail he made.
I got one called the Exam that I like to make. It's Chambord, it's Grand Marnier, it's some vodka, and it's a little splash Frangelico on there. That's a good one. I'm getting into cocktail stuff. It's fun. Cool. And you know what? God damn it, it is a nice thing to do. And it goes against everything. It goes against everything Paul raised. Oh, just drink a real man beer and shut up. Just drink a Coors, just drink a Bud. But yeah.
I mean, how do you have time for this when he was busy telling actors what their job is?
That was really. Did you, Jan or Bakalar? Did you happen to see this?
I heard about it.
You told me. I think you told us yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah. He genuinely. We were watching this like weird Broadway performance on Letterman because I wanted to see his reaction on stream. And he's like, "What do these people put on their W-2 forms? What do they put on their tax forms?" And I was like, "Probably actor." And Alex Boniello had been in the chat like 10 minutes earlier, and he's like, "Well, they're not actors." I was like, "Wait, you don't think Broadway performers are actors?" He goes, "No, they're Broadway performers. They're like singing guys." Right, but you don't think that's technically acting? He's like, "Well, no, they're not being filmed. You have to be filmed to be an actor." Okay, so you're saying acting didn't exist before movie cameras? He's like, yeah. So I fucking I speakerphone called Boniello. This is on Instagram, and had them talk it out. And Boniello rightfully said it was a fucking crazy thing to say, and then eventually hung up on him. So that is the right. I can't hang up on my father. Turns out I just have to live with him my entire life.
Sure you can.
But yeah, no, and that's the thing is people in the chat were saying like, "Oh, you realize how much of him you summon like when you're on podcasts and stuff like that." I'm like, God damn it. You're probably right. I probably am because like I know what a reaction he gets out of me when he's being super Paul Reichert. I'm probably tapping into that when I'm like trying to get a rise out of people and stuff. But he's shooting. He actually doesn't think Broadway performers are actors. That's fucking insane. Like, holy shit.
Well, again, every time you do open up your mouth on a podcast, you do need to also remember the feeling that you have.
I know. And
when
I feel
you
like
deal with your father.
Decade plus my life is trying to excise all the Paul Reichert from my veins, and I think I just need to keep learning these lessons.
Just saying that the feeling is sometimes.
If I could get an AI voice of Paul Reichert and have it like just do your arguments back at you, I think that would give me a long distance in terms of being like, "Oh, you have the core Mario from Paul Reichert." Where you'd be like,
I would have an existential crisis.
Yes, you would probably explode a little bit. It'd be dangerous.
All of this sounds like several side quests that you could embark on in Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. There's the game music. I forget this is a video game podcast.
Island. Oh, right.
I feel like Paul would enjoy his time on Dandoko Island or Dondoko Island.
No, he's talked about going to islands before and he fucking hates it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Grubb,
he absolutely hates it.
I just know what his reasons are, Right?
You've been spending more time with Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. How have you been enjoying it? Where are you at right now?
Yeah, I'm at a point where you take over as Kiryu back in Japan. And it's like now you're like running a whole different crew separate from the Ichiban Kasuga clan or crew. And I'm like, oh my god, now I'm like this whole other game I'm playing over here now, and it does the thing of like, oh, it's keeping things interesting, and I'm finding myself like, yeah, okay, the objective's over there, but I do kind of want to clear out the map a little bit. There's all these interesting icons. It's going to tell me stuff about these characters, and they're going to have conversations, and they're relatively easy to find and get to. And you get there, and it's like you can kind of button through it and read it really quick, and then it like expands your friendship bingo. And I'm like really enjoying filling out those cards. I want to start doing that in real life, like have a friendship bingo cards with you guys.
Let's do that.
Yeah,
we should
definitely do that. And then and then it's like there's all these like kick the bucket list stuff that Kiryu was doing, and it's like I'm because it's like clearly like they're trying to like wrap up his story in some way. It seems like they were like preparing to move on from him. I can't really tell as someone who hasn't played a lot, but there's like a huge history this character has in the series, and it's like all these moments of him going around this town that has been part of the game franchise from the beginning, and him remembering all these moments. And it's like I did not experience almost any of these. I've missed out on almost all of that stuff. And yet it's like, man, it's just nice to know that this game has so much reverence for its history and for the fans that love this character, and it makes me like the character more because I know that there's all this fondness from the people playing the game and from the people making the game. It is it's like it's something kind of special, even though it's like not really necessarily influencing my own history there, because again, I don't have that. Overall, the game just continues to be really fun. The as I do those like friendship bingo list, of course that increases my social links with the characters on my squad, and that means we can do even more in combat, and the combat becomes even better. Unlocked a new ability for Kiryu in combat where it just becomes the old games again in the middle of a turn-based combat fight, and that completely rules school, man. That's awesome.
Yes. So now it's just a different fighting system completely.
Yes, it's really, really great. So I'm at a point where, hey, I'm having so much fun with this game. I'm enjoying taking my time, and I do start to feel some anxiety about all these other things that are coming out that I want to get to.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, time to get back on the just bullet train through these missions. And then when I do that, I'm also having a ton of fun. So it's a game that really is fitting me with me really well. A lot of that does come down to it nailing the humor, nailing the tone, having a lot of irreverence for what kind of game it is. Just like, hey, yeah, this is an RPG, and it's an RPG that it has the entire history and understands what those were, and is very sort of tongue-in-cheek about it. And I really appreciate that as someone who's like watched many of those games from a distance, not really been able to get into many of them, but understands like what they are. This game, understanding what they are, deconstructing them, having fun with that, I can completely get on board with that, and I have.
Yeah, I love the reminiscing stuff back in Japan is awesome. And it makes me happy for like longtime Yakuza fans because, I'm like you, Grubb. I've dabbled with the only one I beat was 0. I've dabbled with other ones, but like, I'm getting like maybe 15% of these reminiscing references and stuff. But I think it's so cool because like it reminds me of like when I was playing through Metal Gear Solid 4, and it was kind of a similar thing where it's like, man, Snake's old, and this is maybe his last, hurrah, this is, and then when you go back to Shadow Moses at one point, and I was like, oh man, this is such a just like catnip for like a longtime Metal Gear Solid fan.
Yep.
And in the way that game also like brought in all these old characters and was very, referential towards the series past. Like, and I remember how much I loved that as a Metal Gear fan, and like I'm sure Yakuza fans are just like, oh, this is so fun.
Yeah, from the BCR episode we did on Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Lexi, Imran, and Jesse Vitelli were sharing that it felt a little bit weird at first to bust Kiryu out, and it kind of felt like, all right, well, we got to bring Kiryu out because Kiryu's popular with everyone,
right?
But by the end of Infinite Wealth, I don't want to put words in any of their mouths, but it did feel like the consensus was this was a better and more proper passing of the torch of the series from Kiryu to Ichiban. And I feel like I didn't quite get that in the original Like a Dragon, but here they are definitely setting Ichiban up to take on the mantle of like the protagonist moving forward for Like a Dragon, or whatever we're going to call the franchise in a couple of years.
Yeah.
But Jesus Christ, the writing of the game, even the main quest where I thought like it would just drag on a little bit too much.
No, they keep it interesting.
Yeah.
And everything pays off. It's not like it's a bunch of loose threads that they forget about. It's like, no, everything sort of builds to something. And they take it seriously, but not too seriously most of the time. And when they do, it's usually well earned. But it's like, for me, it's like, yeah, I'm going from these story moments to story moment, and sometimes I'm half engaged, and sometimes I'm fully engaged. And then I get back to the combat, and I'm in the job system, and one of the characters is just a dominatrix now. Who's like what got a special move where she like just steps on your junk and electrocutes it, and it's like this is just a phenomenal video game.
Yeah,
this is just incredible that they're just doing it. And she's like, and she's like, we'll knock you down and like spank you on the butt, and it does all kinds of damage. It's great. It's what a cool thing.
Speaking of everything paying off, it's the funniest thing in the world to me that Dondoko Island, the reward for like spending 7 hours catching bugs and like building porno stores, is that they give you a golden eye laser. Like, give you a fucking combat ability where you murder everyone, it cuts to space and shows a satellite shooting a laser down and killing everyone.
And it's not explained even a little bit. Why would you get that because of this? It's like, no, of course you got that because you hung out with these freaks on an island. Yeah,
of course, the essence of Dondoko.
It rules.
It's very poor timing for me personally to try and continue to progress forward in Persona 3 Reload, which is a very serious story, and some of the I think I have to concede that this is like a remaster of the original game where they didn't adjust too many things, but some of the social links in Persona 3 I can't fucking stand them. I think you guys may have seen this circling around the internet by now, but one of these social links in Persona 3 Reload is you have to really hype up your classmate because he wants to start a relationship with a teacher, and it's like, yeah, man, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Everyone seems to hate this too. Everyone seems to everyone I see online that talks about it, at least in my social circles. I'm sure there's probably freaks online, but most people would be like, I hate that I have to do this to maximize my game time in here.
And again, you don't have to maximize that social link, but it's just an aspect of that game where
but we're gamers, so we do have to maximize it.
Personas of that specific arcana, you would just get more bonuses if you max that social link out. So it's a little bit of a bummer. Hoping Persona 6 is not asking me to romanticize my teachers. But I think that's what I just enjoy about Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth so much is like, yes, there are the super serious moments, but then everything else is so stupid and they're aware that it's stupid and not taking itself too seriously. I was a baby when this came out, but was the expectation of Shenmue supposed to be like anything like how Yakuza has been?
Shenmue wasn't as humorous. It wasn't going for humor. It was going for just this revenge tale. It is kind of funny going back to, but I think mostly in like unintentional ways. It was pretty dry and serious, I would say. Yakuza is more like kind of that Metal Gear thing of mixing the like super serious with like, this is a batshit silly video game,
Right. Okay. Shenmue was definitely them like feeling it out. Like, do you guys want to open drawers?
Yeah.
Is that like, is this fun? And it's like, well, no, definitely not.
I love Shenmue. I was fascinated by it just because it did have those gimmicks that you didn't see back then. You had the day and night cycle. You had the real-time element of like having to go back to your house by a certain time. The fact that you could go through drawers and go into all these places and go into shops, like that wasn't something you really saw back then.
Right.
And I was fascinated by that. And I think fondly on Shenmue, but I think objectively, I look at what like the Yakuza series has done, and it's like, does everything Shenmue did, but like a billion times better, and adds a bunch of stuff that Shenmue wasn't even trying to do,
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Grubb, you're on the train to try and finish Infinite Wealth.
Yeah, I mean, like, especially like I'm like mentioned that like my anxiety about like, whoa, what if I can't get through this? I really am enjoying it, and then like I said that to Mike. Mike's like, no, finish it. Like I think like, and like Lexi's a huge fan. People are like rooting for me to beat this game, and I'm like, you know what, I want to get through it. So I'm gonna try. But boy, like there's, I started playing Balatro earlier today, Jan, and like I could see that just taking over my entire life. And Final Fantasy's out later this month, and that demo was really, really, really good. So it's like, God, there is a lot of stuff that could derail me. But again, I go back to the good news with games like this is every time I pick up my Steam Deck to play a video game, even if it's like, what am I going to play? And I turn it on, and it just wakes from sleep, and I'm right back into Like a Dragon because I just never turned the game off. It makes it very easy to keep that momentum going forward. So I'm hoping that I can see it through.
Something I'd like to see through after I also wade through the mess of games coming out. Jeff Bakalar, you've been taking a peek at this. Ultros. This is a very goopy looking game.
Oh, it is the wettest, goopiest, gelatinous, most like.
Are you playing on the Steam Deck OLED, Grubb?
I did play it on the Steam Deck OLED
It
when I had the
looks-
preview build. I don't have this version. I haven't asked for a code yet.
Those colors are just extremely vivid on there. Like, it's a really
Yeah.
good Steam
Yes,
Deck
it looks
game.
really good.
This is definitely like an ayahuasca trip, sort of machine elves game. It's like there's an artist. I think they did a cover of like a Mastodon album a couple years ago, and like that, it's exactly.
It looks like
that.
Spencer's Gifts blacklight posters. It looks like what you think peyote probably feels like. It, like
Yeah.
it's got a lot of cool. One of the ways I actually did play it was
On
in
peyote.
peyote, and in the VR headset, the Quest 3. I
Oh my
streamed it
God.
onto a
you
big screen in front of me.
fucking animal.
Christ.
And it was like a moment. I was having a
Yeah.
Colorado night, and it was like it was doing things to me. So
Yeah, I'd need to sit down for something like that.
I was sitting down in a beanbag. Yeah.
I can't decide if I like the atmosphere of this game better or the gameplay itself, because I do think the atmosphere and the sort of like stylistic choices of this thing are really something to behold. Like truly one of the most unique looking things you'll ever really see. And I will say the same thing about the other game I'm going to talk about too. What were you going to say, Jen?
Question: Is Ultros more of like a Metroidvania, or is it like a Dead Cells roguelike?
It's that. It's a Metroidvania. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So, go ahead, Dan.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I played like 30 minutes and like I do love the look of it, but it's like there's so much going on screen that sometimes it's so dense it's kind of hard to tell sometimes, like discerning interactive elements or enemies from the background, you know?
Exactly, and that's the thing that's working against this game, and making me like sort of it's what's sort of like giving me this like push and pull with this game, right? Because the foreground and the background overlap in a way that is a bit jarring and confusing. And
I know what you mean.
And basically what you do is you get through, you acquire a weapon, and then you start to kill these alien enemies. And out of these enemies comes these organs, and you got to eat these organs. These organs, eating an organ fills up like one of 4 sort of like health meters, and those meters, right? These 4 categories that you raise as you eat these organs decide how you can upgrade your skill set. So you're basically, and you can do that anytime, and you're constantly sort of eating these organs. They fill up your health as well, but they also fill up these meters, and you get access to like cool dashes, not a double jump, but you do get a double jump at some point because it is a Metrovania, but you get certain sort of traversal perks, if that makes sense. And that's how that's sort of the loop of the game. The problem, like we said with Dan, is like you are really confused sometimes of like where you are on screen. And there's a couple platforming things that I just don't feel sort of stick the landing. They just don't feel right. There's a bit of
feels
wonkiness
different.
there.
It does feel different. I'm wondering if I dislike it or if I just like need to get used to it.
Exactly. Like I'm not turned off by anything in this game.
Yeah.
Also because I think the stylistic presentation of it just is powerful enough and unique enough to kind of like make up for some of the things where you're like,
right.
oh,
It's
maybe
like
that didn't
filling up
feel
that bar
perfect.
instead of like like the Prince of Persia Lost Crown bar, where it's like clearly that's just wanting to feel awesome all the time.
Right.
And I think some of the presentation in that game suffered, maybe because of it, or maybe they just didn't care as much. And here it's like, well, they went in the other direction slightly, and that doesn't mean that the game feels bad. I just it feels different to me.
Every room you enter, the background is so bizarre and strange, and there's so much like goop and wetness and slime and like membrane everywhere. It's wild, and I'm playing it mostly for that. And I also think they do some really interesting like filtering from a sort of like a visual point of view. I really dig it. I really dig the uniqueness of this presentation. I think, I have gotten into a couple moments already where I'm just like, oh fuck, do I have to like backtrack and go and try and just like get through this little moment here? Am I missing something there? And I do think it does play with the dimensionality frustrations of it, where that leads into some of the sort of like unknown and kind of like trapping you maybe in an unintended way. But I do think it is really good. I haven't played it on my Steam Deck yet, which I will now, because this is the game for that, right? Especially like you said, the OLED. I mean, this game pops. It is gorgeous. It is absolutely phenomenally visualized. So yeah, I'm pretty into it. I maybe I'm about maybe like 2 hours in, 3 hours in. Maybe there's something that I'm gonna come across that really changes the game, but so far I'm digging it.
Hell yeah. Something that I have been digging, and now I think Jeff Grubb is also digging, and it seems the internet is also digging, and I'm going to take credit for that, is Balatro.
It is. Yeah. It is thanks to you,
Grubb.
It's really popping off. It's a lot of people, I think it's one of the most wishlisted games out of that Steam Next Fest. Yeah, it's really good. I started playing it, and once you realize it's like, man, okay, I have these cards here, and if I just save them, I got 3 discards left. Basically, Jan explained it, but it's a poker deck building game where you get all kinds of modifiers that change up how things work. You can add extra deck cards to your deck. So it's like, oh, I actually have 5 kings in this deck, and I actually upgraded one of them, so they're it's a gold card. So if I spend it, if I make a hand out of that, it's going to be worth even more. It's that, and you're trying to make poker hands. But like just the structure of, okay, you have so many hands to get so many points, and you have so many discards, and it's like, okay, some risk reward here. I've got, I got a straight shot through the middle. If I just get that one card, I'm going to discard these, and I have 3 discards. I'm just going to play the math and hope I get it. And you know what? In fact, I have a tarot card that will turn 3 of these cards from whatever suit they are now to hearts, and that 4th one is a heart. So now there's a chance it's going to be a straight flush. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go for it. And when it hits and that last discard, and you're like, if it doesn't hit now, I'm going to lose this round and my run is going to be over. It's like the rush of dopamine that you're looking for from this game. It is a sweet, sweet game.
Dan,
go ahead.
Dan, it's the ultimate carrot on the stick, where
it is
like the math clicks in such a good, satisfying way. And like Grubb is saying, like, you're playing with chance to an extent because you start with 52 cards, and that's just like your normal deck of cards. Yeah. But as you progress through, you're adjusting those cards of like, all right, you know what? Now I want to turn like these 3 heart cards into spades because I'm just going to go for spades. And then
one of my jokers gives me a bonus if they're spades as well. So
so at the core, it sounds like it is playing with 2 through ace, the pair, 2 pair, 3 of a kind, like the actual poker concept. It's not throwing in, it's throwing in modifiers on the existing poker hands and cards, but it's
that's
not
what I've experienced so
here's
far.
A 20 card or something.
No,
like you don't get that, right? Okay.
No,
okay.
So it's like, I had an option with one of the tarot cards where it's like, okay, I bought this pack, and it's like, you have to pick one of these 5 and you have to use it immediately. And the options were get a bonus, and it gave me a variety of hands on each one of these cards. So one of the cards would have been like, okay, you're going to get a bonus every time you get a full house. And this one's a bonus every time you get 3 of a kind. And this is a bonus every time you get a straight. And one of them was like, you get a bonus every time you get a pair. I'm like, okay, that one, I'm going to go with that one because just mathematically, I'm going to get the most of those. And it's going to put me in a situation where I know I'm going to be able to take advantage of that bonus as frequently as possible. And of course, right after that, I have a straight. And it's like, man, it would have been nice to have that. But then I got a lot of pairs, and that's all I could play. And it was enough to get me just over the blind, which is the goal that you're trying to get to. They call them blinds here. Yeah. So it's like, you got to get 3,200 points, and that's the blind. And every hand is worth so much, and you get multipliers. And all that stuff is working together, and you're like, man, I'm right there. I just have to actually get a couple of big hands, or if I just get a consistent amount of points all throughout, and I'm getting a decent amount of multipliers by using my cards wisely, it's all going to work out. And it's like when you hit, it feels really good. And then when you miss, it's time to go again. Yeah. Let's go on another run now. I can't wait to get back in there.
And Dan, one of the best Joker cards, or like these modifier cards, you have up to 5 of them. Is say you're trying your hardest to get a straight. Well, there's a Joker, several Joker modifiers where it's like, all right, you know what? You can skip a number to complete your straight. So if you have like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, but you don't have the 9, but you have a 10 card, you can complete that straight. And then
I'm going to make that argument next time I have a poker night here. I'm going to try to work these rules into actual poker. People will be cool with that.
But then the other like insane part is you combine that Joker with another one that says you only need 4 cards to complete a straight or a flush.
Oh, so it could be like 5, 6, 8, 9, and you've got a straight.
Yeah, but if you're skipping one, 5, 6, 8.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna download this right now on my Steam Deck. That sounds like a good Steam Deck game.
It is like an insane time waster, and like it's actually one of several games this year that has like caused me to time travel. Where I'm looking at the clock, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh no, I've stayed up too late.
You know what this sounds like? This sounds like a game like I've got Raw on for 3 hours
Yes.
and I'm playing this. That
It
sounds
really
perfect
is.
for that.
The tutorial is pretty fast. It's done by one of the Joker cards, calls himself Jimbo. I think, are all of the Joker cards named a variation on Jim? Because I saw another one that was like Jim Joker, and it was like signed in cursive. It was either way. I'm a big fan of that guy. He's got inscription energy, like
Yes.
the cards there,
Yeah.
where he's like kind of talking to you, and it seems like there's maybe more going on, but I can't tell yet. I don't know. It's really well. The presentation is fantastic.
It's
It also
also
requires 62 megabyte download.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it looks like an HD Game Boy Color game. I think is the best way I can explain it.
And that's praise there.
Yeah. Oh,
Everything you're
100%.
saying sounds incredible.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to play this.
Huge fan of it.
I love.
Wow.
I just think it's so insane that this game comes out at the height of Jan's poker nonsense.
Perfect.
Like,
It was
Yeah.
inevitable.
Like
He
the stars
manifested.
lined up. Did they?
Well, that'll
not?
hammer in all the like hands and everything too.
Exactly.
Like that's got to be good for that.
It's
yeah.
great for that. It's
Yeah,
fantastic.
I've not really gotten into this just yet, but I know what's gonna like. I know that there is some video poker brain part of me
Mhm.
that I've snuffed
Oh,
out.
you know what? This
And
this
what's
this
that?
reminds me sometimes the look not only of like a nice GBA game, but like of a shitty video poker.
Shitty
Yes.
video poker game. That's a
the
very,
very
good point.
old
Yeah.
school video. Yeah, that's the first
Definitely.
thing I thought of. Yeah,
Can we, when we're all in person next time, can we do a like let's get a deck and sit around a table and
Oh,
really
yeah.
do it?
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
do
We've
it.
talked about
Awesome.
this. I would love to present it in the way that the World Series of Poker does, with like the card cams and everything.
I mean, I feel like I could set that up.
You
I feel
know,
like I could
do we
make
have,
that
like-
happen.
Why don't we do it like there's the
we'll
online
use-
stuff we could just do here and we
Yeah.
could like informally, all
Sure.
Venmo, into a pot or whatever and play for real.
we could use Tam's endoscopy camera for the card cam, right?
Yeah, we could just like set a delay so that Dan can't cheat, and then
That's true.
I
So
would
it's
not
done.
do that. I am a man of honor. I would
Yeah.
not. Seriously, I would
yeah.
not. Well, if actual money was on the line, there is no chance in hell I would cheat. That's
course.
beyond the pale.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
And also, go ahead, Dan.
Oh, I was going to say, speaking of cheating, I had my first poker night over at my place on Friday. It's the poker table, the spot it had to go in the basement is like all mirrors on the ceiling just in that spot. So it has to be a house rule where it's like, all right, if you're looking straight up, people are going to yell at you because what the fuck are you trying to
That's
do?
right, folks.
Also,
You-
keep those
you
cards
heard.
low,
You heard it. Mirrors on the ceiling. You heard it.
That's
You
they
heard
were
it.
here when I moved in.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Here when I bought the place. Don't know why. Don't
There
know
were
how.
A lot of mirrors in
A lot of mirrors.
But Jerf, you've checked out you've been checking out another game that I've been morbidly curious about, and I need to check it out, but I have no fucking time. You've been
I've been
checking out
thinking-
Harold Halibut.
Yeah, I've been thinking about Harold Halibut for like 3 years
Yeah,
now.
you have.
Because I think it reminded me of that Charlie Kaufman puppet movie,
Sure.
Amelise, I think it was called.
Wait,
right.
no. Wait, Charlie Kaufman, the not Human Nature, right?
Yeah, did
Charlie
he do
Kaufman
that?
adaptation.
Oh, Tim Robbins. Oh, adaptation.
Yeah, he did adaptation.
Yeah, we have the cage and yeah.
Anomalisa, that's what it was called. Anomalisa.
Yeah.
I never heard of
there it
that
is.
one.
Yeah, it's like it's a stop motion
Oh.
movie that's like it's really strange. It's I think it's worth watching. I don't think it's
Okay.
like one of apparently his new animated movie is very good. Orion and the Dark. It's on
Yeah,
Netflix
it's
now.
taking over Netflix, right?
Yeah, he wrote that, I think.
Huh, I like this stuff.
Yeah, he's awesome. So I think this game is pretty much like the closest thing we're gonna get to a Wes Anderson-y kind of like storytelling experience.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I've only played it for like 90 minutes, but I have gotten the narrative dump that's sort of front loaded at the top there.
How does
The
it play?
So it's kind of like it's basically like a controller point and click kind of thing.
Okay.
You're moving around, but you're just sort of like going to items and
Like-
doing the
Like The
thing.
Walking Dead, like a Telltale game.
A little bit. It's about this underwater like sort of city / spaceship that is made up of like generations of a society that left Earth and had to settle on some sort of like watery planet. And the way they explain like how they got there was like the most, like I said, Wes Anderson, narrative kind of thing. Really, like it felt so good. And for me, that is the thing that's keeping me going. I don't think the gameplay here is really gonna be what shines, because I think it is the narrative, task objective based sort of thing that you're trying to figure out. You play this sort of like lab assistant kind of lackey person, and you seem like you're very forgetful, and you're just sort of like a bum on this spaceship thing, and you're tasked with completing a set of objectives, and you just sort of are going around the ship in the early parts of this demo and meeting people and understanding what's going on. And there's like this whole sort of like world down there and you travel around through these like water tubes to get to different portions of the ship. It's really interesting. Now, the thing that I cannot wrap my head around is like how unique this game looks. It looks like stop motion puppets.
Yeah.
It looks like Team America.
Yeah, I mean that was live action puppets, but yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're right.
This has some look to it that I just don't understand how they were able to, and it's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. It's very like diorama-y in the same way as like a Fantastic Mr. Fox or there's a certain look to it that is truly phenomenal, and it is able to convey this like really adorable and sort of twee, set piecing that you walk through, and every environment is, they play with like depth of field, and like everything just looks so cozy and interesting and very specifically like thought out. It's very cool. It's very, very cool.
I want to make
Like
a diorama now.
Yeah.
They're fun. You never did that in school?
Only once.
The shoebox stuff?
We only ever did it once, and then my teacher saw how bad everyone's dioramas were, and I think she decided never again.
The whole movie takes place. The whole game takes place inside of a shoebox. Is basically the story here. And so they are setting up this kind of like mystery, right? You're sort of like, why this planet? There's like this sort of closed circuit like network TV that sends out announcements, and it's all very like bespoke and hand painted, and everything just looks so fucking cool. I love this because it's just so fresh and it's just so unique. And I think it's a pretty strong demo from what I've played so far, and we'll kind of see where it goes. I think it is this year, right? It's definitely this year.
It says 2024 on Steam, and that's all it says.
I think it is a little rough around the edges, just like glitchiness wise. I think there's a couple things that have to get sanded out, smoothed out, and whatnot. But very intriguing, very interesting, and I think I'm getting wrapped up in the mystery it is attempting to present here. Yeah.
The trailer on Steam says early 2024, so yes,
cool,
soon.
Yeah, it's real cool. I think it's fun.
Oh,
sorry, I was panically going for the mute button.
It does. You're right. The Charlie Kaufman animated film. It does remind me a lot of that. It reminds me actually a lot of when Will Smith, not that Will Smith, was doing the Foo Show, and they had the
VR thing,
VR capture stuff that he tried to they were like trying to pitch to like Adult Swim for like animated shows. A lot of the animation like looks so smooth and like lifelike that there's something like that going on as well. I don't know. It's really cool.
The first time you get the controls handed over to you and you're seeing like Harold move, you're sort of just like, I can't believe this is how this is gonna play.
Yeah,
maintaining the look that it was doing in the cutscenes in the movies leading up to that.
It's like a hyper reality.
It's big wow factor for sure.
It's a hefty download as well. It clocked in at
it's
50?
It's a beefy one, 60 gigs, something like that.
Damn. All right.
Yeah.
It's a big fish. It's a big fish. Well, gentlemen, unless anyone has any other games to talk about here, I think it's time to get to the game of the week. The game of the week is Helldivers 2. Holy shit, yo. I don't have music for game of the week, but there's a little bit of the email. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Beautiful. There we go. I'll get that sound effect downloaded. Holy smokes, y'all. I mean, I liked Helldivers 1 decent enough when we checked it out. I was like, oh, this is fun. This has ideas. Cool.
Yeah.
And then we played this.
Ideas.
Holy shit. Holy smokes.
It is still mostly Helldivers.
What's that?
It is still mostly Helldivers. Like, that's the thing. It's still mostly Helldivers 1. A lot of the changes just like, now that you're down in it, like the visual effects and the volumetric fog and stuff, and the lights of the explosions like happening inside that fog really goes an extra mile to make you feel like you are in it.
That's the thing. Is like,
100%.
I think about the things I love about 2, and I didn't really play 1, so I'm curious how much it matches those feelings. But like when we call in, like I love when we go to an outpost or something, and like all 4 of us are throwing orbital strike beacons and napalm, carpet bomb bullshit and everything, and then you just wait for that moment where it's like when a hell bomb's like, and you just see this giant fucking explosion in the sky. Like I'm sure it looks cool top down, but there is something about being in it and seeing the cape fly up in the wind, and oh my god.
Grubby,
It feels dangerous.
You said it best. Yeah, exactly. It feels legitimately dangerous because Helldivers 1, you can kind of like, oh, shoot, you threw this beacon over there. I can avoid it here. Or you can easily scope out where enemies are coming from. But here, because like we're so in the thick of it and we're so focused of like, all right, let's focus down on get this lane of enemies coming in. We're going to protect this sector. And then, oh, shit, there's an obscene amount of bugs behind us.
It really, because it is like, anything is happening at any moment, and it's like you are firing down a line of bugs, and you do see your teammates throwing down their orbital strikes, so you're trying to keep that in mind. And then you start to get overwhelmed, and you turn around, and there's a bug there, and you shoot, and you run out of ammo, and so you're screwed. And then you're like, I'm gonna switch weapons, and then you kind of look to the right, and then the giant bug is charging you, and you can't. There's no way you're gonna be able to kill it. So all you can do is dive out of the way, and then you're laying on your back. And you're shooting a John Woo style because you switch to your other weapon, and then your friends are like, okay, you just run, we got you covered. All like that moment to moment, hey, you are in it and you're just trying to survive. And at every corner, no matter where you turn, something else bad is probably going to happen. And then you're probably going to make a mistake. Like you are going to throw down your carpet bomb, and you don't really get much say in like the angle of attack or whatever. It's just like, no, you throw it over there, just destroy stuff over there. And it's like, okay, we're rolling the dice a little bit, but like, what choice do we have? We're getting overrun. It's a really good idea, and they nail it. At every choice is the right choice in terms of make it feel dangerous, make it feel like the decisions are your own. Like we feel completely responsible for everything that happens in the game. That's the really cool part of it.
Yeah, it feels really dangerous because at any point somebody from the chat can join in and team kill you.
Yeah, sure, exactly. I assumed that Christian killed you because like Susie joined, you killed him like because he didn't get permission to join, of course. So and then I'm like, okay, well he got his revenge there, and like no, turns out that was just the spaceship killing you both. So
well, look, it's inconclusive based on the video and stats.
But I do like the freedom to just do whatever once you drop into a mission of like, all right, here's like a small openish world. Let's try and maximize our time here. And yesterday in that one mission I was able to play with y'all, I thought we had so much time. I thought 30 minutes is going to take forever. And then Dan looks at the clock. I'm like, oh, we only have 15 minutes left, y'all. And we got to go from like all the way north to all the way south.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you guys were fiddle fucking around back there trying to find something. I was like, I'm going off solo. I know this is dangerous, but I got to go north and flip the switch over here. We're all going to die. But I think it's really smart the way they do the time stuff, because it's like we learned yesterday that when the timer runs out, it's not a failure. It's just like, okay, basically all your support, like you can't call in orbital strikes or anything or anything, any drops, any reinforcements, including your people. So if you die, it's like, well, okay, the safety net's gone at that point. Like, I think that's a really smart way to do it.
Just increases the drama, which is like kind of what this game is doing at every turn. Is what's a decision that can make everything feel like the things you're deciding matter, and they're going to have an impact on how the game plays out. And it's like, that's just another good choice that the game makes about making sure that, like, no, we're not going to give you some weird game over screen. That's silly. You're there and you're just on your own. And if you die, then it is actually over. But I don't know, owning every decision that you make as a player and having consequences you have to deal with makes this game stand out in such a strong way from almost every other game on the market right now, where they are afraid to just be like, hey, yeah, you made that decision. We're going to punish you for it. It's like, no. Okay, no, there's some safety. Like, there's guardrails here. We're going to keep you on the straight and narrow. We're going to take care of you. And this game's like, wouldn't it be fun if we didn't? And yeah,
what if
it rules.
What if you threw that mine dispenser in the middle of the place where you have to take these prisoners onto a ship safely? It's like, well, fuck you. You threw it.
Deal with it.
Yeah.
And, okay, I guess we'll shoot these things, and then we'll drop another one. Yeah.
And for as many opportunities as there is to grief your team members, I feel like because everything is so dangerous, you do just wind up working together inadvertently, whether or not you kind of want to like push each other's buttons or not, right?
Right. It's like unspoken rules like pop up really fast, and that's like becoming a thing in the community. Like people are like, if you drop down supplies, everyone just takes one box of supplies because it's way better if everyone just has at least a little bit of ammo rather than you have all the ammo. It's like, yeah, of course.
It lends itself to really good co-op because it's like there are real stakes and you actually do have to work together. So it's like, I mean, look at when we played, Four Swords Adventures, a game where there's not really a lot of stakes.
Sure.
And like, so that lends itself to like certain players will just fuck around and troll their friends and things like that. Yeah,
God
Minotti.
damn it, Mike.
This one, it's like there is an objective and like everyone really needs to work together and help each other out. And so like, yeah, I do find that like the four of us have played multiple co-op games, and this is the one where I think we're the most like on it and helping each other,
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's still like, we all have different ideas about like what is a good idea at any one time. And that means like sometimes I am going to like drop the carpet bomb like right outside of where we're at. And it's going to be a little dangerous, a little hairy, but it's like, hey, if it kills more enemies than it kills us, that's a victory.
Yeah.
Like that we're trying to survive.
I love those moments like yesterday when they had the hell bombs next to the buildings we had to explode. And so like one of us, like I think there were some times, Grubb, where it's like, you punched in the thing to like activate the hell bomb. And like I'm just in there like looking for samples and stuff. And I heard someone say you activated. I was like, wait, what? You activated the bomb? And it's like that mad dash to get the fuck out of there.
And there's one of the clips in there is you like, I'm trying to find my samples that I dropped, and I was like, just had my finger hovering over the last button for like a minute straight, like counting down, like I'm gonna do it, Dan. And that's also very fun. And it's like, I'm not gonna leave a hell bomb there. We didn't need that one anymore. We already blew up the objective there, so it was a second unnecessary hell bomb.
You got it.
I'm not gonna not blow up a hell bomb.
It's there. Yeah.
It's there. It's got to get blown up. So it's fun.
I've also enjoyed some of the happy accidents. Like I think in that same mission, I dropped a hell bomb, and like the angle of the terminal was weird whenever I accessed it because I couldn't see it on my screen. So I had to have Grubb look at the directions and spell it out for me.
And I'm like squinting at the really tiny arrows. Like I'm like, okay, this is like an eye test, and we got it.
I was worried how they would translate the stratagems to third person, and it's completely like no problem at all. Like
I love it. Yeah.
In ways I feel like games have taken the pinging system from Apex. I don't know how any game is going to include stratagems, but like I want them to now.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I mean, just dialing things in, making it feel like there's some analog aspects to this world. All that stuff makes games like this feel so much better.
Yeah, it's like you'll be getting swarmed. Like I'll have, I'll be near death, a bunch of shit chasing me and stuff. I need to fucking inject myself in the neck with this thing, but also you just died in like a bombing. And so I'm trying to like hold L1 and like I'm trying to get away from all these things and type in up, down, left, up. Right. It's like,
and they're like, enemies like 15 feet away. You're like, I have just enough time if I get this dialed in perfectly. And other games like, just put it on the hotkey. Just put it on the D-pad and hit left, and we'll make it easy for you. And the game's like, no, it is more fun if it's not easy. If it's just a little bit annoying, somehow that makes it better, and they're 100% right. And I think people have been craving this kind of action, this kind of just slightly challenging obstacle between you and like accomplishing something, because the game is really, really hitting very hard right now. 150,000 concurrents and stuff like that on Steam alone. It is very popular. I was on TikTok last night. Every other video that was live was someone playing this game. It's very, very popular right now.
One of the great things though, when you do get revived, when your teammate gets you, you have like a little bit of wiggle room to like land a little bit slightly to the left or right of where they set down the beacon, and you can get an enemy down like that. You could destroy a building. Oh, it's so good.
I was playing with Mike and his brothers last night, and we got up to a building that was going to have a bunch of enemies, and we saw them all. So we're like, okay, just let's wait. We all want to throw our stuff. Let's just get in a line and throw our stuff. And so one of the brothers like got their thing out and threw something down, and then we were all holding like various orbital strikes or carpet bombing things. And the one brother like accidentally dropped the thing on top of himself, and it killed or it knocked Mike over. It didn't kill Mike, but in the action of Mike getting knocked down, he dropped his orbital strike, which came down and hit and killed everyone else, killing me. Mike is still alive still, but I was holding my carpet bomb, so I dropped that. And Mike's like, "Oh, I'm still alive." And then he stands up and looks, and he just sees the red pylon. He's like, "Oh, great, eagle strike," and he just fucking dies. It was like this chain reaction, and that's only possible in a game like this. It's like everything you decide to do is going to have a consequence. If you're holding something and you die, you're going to drop it. What does that mean? Sometimes it's like your gun, and sometimes it's going to call down an orbital strike because the dudes up there in the ship have no idea. They can't tell what's happening. All they see is a big red beam, and that means fire all your guns on that spot. So, yeah, just love it.
Yeah.
We're 6 weeks. We're not even 6 weeks into the year, and there are so many games
nuts.
that I'm noting to like, hey, don't fucking forget about this and this and this and this and this. It's nuts.
Yeah, I thought last year was a packed year, but Jesus Christ, like there's a lot of stuff on this like spoon already.
Yeah, shit's going down.
And like there was an obscene amount of games that I missed from Steam Next Fest that I've heard like the best buzz around. Grubb, what was that game Lucy was checking out that like you're a sniper or something? I forget what it was called.
Yeah, I can't remember. She did mention it, and I was gonna check it out, but let me check my Steam.
Yeah, Helldivers 2. We're probably going to try and weasel our way to play more of it on this website.
Yeah, I'd like to.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes, don't call it weaseling. Perfectly fine behavior.
Yeah, it's like it's a packed week. It's a packed schedule. We got to cover some other stuff, but like Helldivers 2 is pretty dang fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that the
Children of the Sun is the Lucy
Children
game.
of the Sun. Okay.
Yes, and a lot of people have been talking about that.
God. Please. Okay. Anyway, well, that is Helldivers 2, and that is the first segment of this podcast. We're gonna
Suicide Squad's okay. That's all I want to say.
There we go.
It's all right.
Heard to hear.
We may or may not play it this Thursday before the dump truck.
Yeah. Look out. Just be on the website. We'll see what we're gonna do.
Bailey had asked, like, "Oh, is there any room for me to be on any GB stuff this week? I'm playing through Suicide Squad, and I just need a break." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, just come by Thursday." No one tell her that
they were playing Suicide Squad. Yep.
I've already called Harley Quinn. All right. Anyway, we will be back with the news after a quick break. Oh, oops. Wait. There. This is Jeff Grubb with the news. Jeff Grubb.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right, got some news here for you. I wrote it down even so I can just read it to you. Starting with, sounds like we know the first two Xbox games that will be coming to at least PS5. A report suggests Hi-Fi Rush and Pentiment will be the first Xbox games destined for non-Xbox platforms. Sea of Thieves may get released wider in a more wide way later in the year. Those are the two that we expect maybe to show up as part of this Xbox podcast business update event that's happening on Thursday. That got announced last week as an event. Earlier this week, they clarified it's going to be a podcast. A lot of people are like, a podcast? That's weird. Why is this either not a press release or like a video presentation or a YouTube presentation? Obviously, it'll be a video podcast as well.
I think I know why.
Yeah, what do you think? I mean, I'm not too weirded out by this, but a lot of people were. What do you think, Bakalar?
I'm not weirded out by it. I do think with podcasting comes a little bit of flexibility with your messaging.
Yes.
And I do think it is malleable. Right. It's malleable enough where you can be like, it's not what I meant, you know?
Right. Yeah.
And I just think it is a way more intangible press release medium, right? I think it's that's what I think.
It could be, someone asking the questions, like the host of the podcast, and Phil Spencer's on there, and Sarah Bond and Matt Booty, whoever's actually going to be on this podcast, and the host can frame the questions in such a way that it speaks to those concerns without getting into like the every little detail that people are worried about on the slippery slope arguments. But I think you're right.
And who knows where they got the idea for such a casual presentational matter? I mean, who knows where they came up with the notion of like, what if we just like sat down and had some like real friendly face interview us about all this?
Probably the 404 podcast, I think.
Oh, you fucking piece of shit. He was. No, what? No, he wasn't. So no, fuck you twice, Jeff Grubb. Fuck you twice.
Listen, there's a lot of other games that have been mentioned in terms of, hey, these might also come to PlayStation 5, or at least they're under consideration. That includes Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. That one is a little strange, though, because when it was announced, that was before the Xbox acquisition, or around the time, and it was like confusing about like, oh, this deal had happened long before Bethesda was acquired by Microsoft, so maybe like PlayStation was already baked into that understanding. Seems like that was the case, and then later Microsoft created an exclusivity window, and so maybe this isn't in that same exact conversation. However, Gears of War is one that I've heard repeatedly now that is at least being considered, and I think that one actually makes quite a bit of sense when you like sit down and think about it. Yeah, it's like a big name. It's like second only to Halo in terms of like the games you associate with Xbox, but Gears of War has not been around. We haven't had one since Gears 5. It's pretty old at this point. They put Gears aside to work on some other games that I believe they have since canceled, and now they're going back to work on Gears 6, and that is going to take quite a bit of time. So in the meantime, one way you can keep Gears relevant is, hey, let's put out a Gears collection, a Gears trilogy on PlayStation. And you kind of can't even really do that on Xbox because those games are already playable with backward compatibility in just about the best state that you could ask for. Mm-hmm. So one way to keep it relevant is put it out on PlayStation. Now, people might be weirded out by that. Maybe they're still not going to actually end up going through with that because this is just under consideration. The other side of this is, okay, people have been worried, okay, what about Xbox hardware down the line? If games like Gears of War and Indiana Jones are available on PlayStation, even if it's like an exclusivity window, people might want to stop buying Xboxes. And so will Microsoft stop making Xbox hardware? It seems like it could be a death spiral. Well, Microsoft said at the very least that they are committed to still making hardware. In a town hall with employees at Microsoft last week. They're like, hey, this is the reporting is a bit extreme. We're considering some games going to other platforms, but this does not in any way signify that we are deprecating our investments in hardware. They're going to keep doing that. And an interesting aspect of this is that Phil Spencer in the last week or two has been liking a lot of tweets, if this is something you think you can read into, about handheld Xbox devices. Seems to be, and there's been some rumors that Microsoft is going to release one of those in the next several years. That's pretty believable. Do you think that we hear anything about that? Do you think like we come out of this podcast and with them saying, and we are looking into doing something with that, or we promise to have some news about that in the next couple of years?
Here's what they do. They're gonna fade in from like whatever graphic they have of the podcast from the wide shot, and as they fade in, Phil Spencer will put a device down, face down on the table, and then they'll start the podcast. And the whole time it's like, what did Phil put down? What's Phil doing over there? What's the thing in his hands? That's what it'll be.
I think you might not be too far off. I
Cut
think
the check, Bill.
I think the thing he might show off though will be a device that already exists, and when he holds it up, it'll be a version of Windows 11 that doesn't fucking suck for one of these devices. I think it'll be a handheld version of Windows 11.
How can we tell?
Well, I mean, honestly, if it just looks like it makes sense on a handheld device, it'll look very different and much better than what Windows 11 is like on an Asus ROG Ally at the moment. Yeah, so this all happens on Thursday. This podcast, we will get some answers. We'll see from there. But Microsoft's going to have to kind of get to a point where instead of releasing a podcast, maybe they start releasing some video games that people really are into.
What? Damn.
I mean,
Shit.
What kind of microphones do you think they're going to use? Are they going to have like mic arms, or are they just going to have like stick mics, or what's
360 headsets?
I think it's just going to be. That's funny, Dan. I think
the
it's
one-ear ones.
I think it's just going to. I don't think it's going to be a video podcast. I think it's just going to be a podcast.
Oh, that's
Think
boring.
so?
I don't know. Like you wouldn't call it a podcast.
I think these days podcast
Maybe,
implies like because of like Pat McAfee's show is a podcast, and that's a video program, and a lot of podcasts are just on YouTube like us, and that like a lot of people absorb them that way. So I think the understanding these days, you say podcast, that could just as easily mean that there's a video presentation.
Sure.
Or the Asian kid from the new Ghostbusters movie.
Wait, does anybody listen? So wait, official Xbox. Nice. It'll just be him. Does anyone listen to the official Xbox podcast? Is that's the thing? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm sure some people in the world do, yeah. But and I think that actually is a video podcast too. So.
Oh, all right. Well, then we have our answer.
Yep. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is.
Okay.
And Michael O'Leary in chat says yes, it is a video podcast. So there you go.
Neat.
Sony is reportedly canceling Rise of Ronin launch in South Korea. The game's been pulled from Korea's PlayStation Store. Promotional videos removed from the PlayStation YouTube channel as well. Sony didn't provide a reason for the cancellation, but it's believed to be connected to comments by game director Fumihiko Yasuda about controversial historical figure Shoin Yoshida. Yoshida's conclusion in game sparked criticism due to his involvement in Japan's occupation of Korea. Yoshida is a figure who is basically, he's like an early Japanese nationalist who like fought against the shogunate, when the samurai took over. He's like, we should go back to being an empire and then maybe be more modern like a lot of other countries. That's how he's remembered in Japan, and people like really think of him fondly in Japan because of that. And then people in South Korea are like, yeah, but then he's like, you should expand into South Korea and take us over, and like was a big reason that we got occupied by you, and we fucking hate that guy. So it's a controversial figure to say the least. So yeah, they're gonna probably not release the game in South Korea. That game, you guys have any interest in this Rise of Ronin? Do you guys even remember it when I say it? Because we did see it in that state of play.
This is the one with the bird suit, right?
Yes, that's right. That actually is the thing that probably sticks out the most about it, is like the samurai guy that can fly in a bird suit that's like made of straw, right? Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I don't know. I like samurais. I like bird suits.
Sure. Let's go.
A video game developer that worked on Immortals of Aveum said it was a truly awful idea to make a video game like Immortals of Aveum. Developers criticized the release of Immortals of Aveum, citing that it was a truly awful idea. The game released on PS5, Xbox Series X, and S, and PC with reasonable review scores, but poor sales. Ascendant Studios laid off nearly half its staff a month after release, and the CEO attributed it to poor sales during a crowded release window. A former employee claims the game cost around $125 million to develop, with $85 million in development costs and $40 million from EA for marketing and distribution. They described the game as overscoped and bloated with a repetitive campaign. Another developer at Ascendant Studios laments poor sales despite positive reviews and absence of common player grievances like microtransactions and lengthy gameplay. basically this came out of reporting from Rebecca Valentine over at IGN, where she talked about 40 developers about, hey, what's happening in gaming right now? Why all the layoffs? Why some closures? Why does it seem so gloomy out there? And there was a lot of different reasons. The biggest reason still seems to be over hiring coming through the pandemic, but a lot of people spotted a lot of other things happening. And they pointed out that games like Immortals of Aveum can still happen. And by happen, it means they are big projects that, like, when you start making them, like, maybe this can work, and then they go out and they just fall completely flat, and it's like a big risk that just blows up in EA's face and in the studio's face, and they have to lay off a bunch of people. I think I would argue, hey, Immortals of Aveum, you should make a game that's more interesting, that can, like, command attention, do something that, like, oh, people can't ignore, maybe go out and get an IP. But then you see, like, hey, Suicide Squad did all that, and people feel the exact same way about that game. So there's not a lot of, like, obvious answers that are just going to work, other than you make a game that people can't ignore because it's so good. I suppose this game, people don't hate it, but that maybe people just felt like it was an easy one to skip in a very busy time of the year. Did any of you ever play Immortals of Aveum? Because I never touched it.
I looked at it for like 10 seconds, I think. I saw
Just for like a video, yeah.
Yeah, I just saw that. And that was about it. I think it's remarkably unremarkable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's
just
not
terrible. I mean, like the
right.
like spell casting stuff and everything, it's like pretty snappy and it looks pretty sharp, but the tone and the story are pretty off-putting, I would say.
The developers from the studio who had previously worked there, they've been laid off. They said it was actually just a bad idea to make a single-player first-person shooter that is a big AAA game these days. That was just a straight-up bad idea, and you shouldn't do that anymore. Do you guys agree with that, or do you guys think that, well, at the very least, we could tell it's very risky? But can a game like that still work today and make its money back and make a splash? If it's not, like, called Doom, for example.
And if it's not tied to an IP, perhaps?
It's not tied to something. Well, yeah. I mean, even if it is tied to an IP, like, is that what you need to do to survive? I don't know. What do you think?
Like, do you count that, like, with the, there was that 360 era, like, post Bioshock, where you got all those, like, Singularities and Fracture and all those different type of games, like single player focus, kind of like a gimmick, a power of some sort, like Immortals had. Are you talking about that type of game?
I mean, sure. I mean, yeah, those didn't really work either, though, right? Like,
no, not really. Like, if it was Bioshock, it worked, but that was Bioshock. That was the exception.
Those games probably didn't cost $125 million to make, though. I think that's the difference. Is, like, it's getting way more expensive to make one of those.
I mean, it is a wildly large marketing budget too, which
that's how big marketing budgets are these days.
Totally,
sure. Yeah.
But I don't know. I do. I think the effectiveness of those things are, like, always right up in the air, and
exactly.
Yeah, I hate to relate that. I think it's a tough thing to relate to Bioshock. I think obviously Bioshock has, like, a certain kind of, like, story that a lot of things can't really compete with. And when you think about that, the story part of this one, it's sort of forgettable and uninteresting in a lot of ways, right? So
yeah,
right.
And I don't know. I think, Grubb, you said it again. I think it's risky more than anything, because these types of games are so expensive to start with.
And if it hits, it can hit. But the much likelier scenario is it's going to miss. And when you miss these days with a game like this, it seems to miss very, very hard.
Right.
It's like there is no in the middle. It just is either going to be a really big thing that a lot of people are talking about, and it takes off on social media and word of mouth, and a lot of people end up buying it right away, and it has long legs and sells for a long time. We see that happen over and over with a handful of games. And then we also see pretty frequently the opposite happen. A game like Immortals of Aveum comes along, and it misses, and it just disappears basically immediately, and no one wants to even talk about it. So, maybe the same thing, something similar is maybe happening with Suicide Squad, but we'll see. And maybe they could turn it around, keep people interested in that. But that game had, like, half the sales of Gotham Knights, I think they said.
Jesus.
So,
yes.
Oh no, it had half the sales of Guardians of the Galaxy. That's what it was, and that's
wow, that's telling.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if even tying yourself to an IP is, like, a guaranteed success, because of Suicide Squad, even Avatar, which is, like, a decent game, and shouts out to our Avatar heads out here, but it didn't blow up the world. And then you have other, like, AAA or I guess seemingly AA first-person shooter games like Atomic Heart, where there was like a lot of buzz leading up to it, and then it came out, and then it's like, all right, cool, that's a game. And like, I don't remember a lot of buzz after we got over Jeff Bakalar making relations with that fridge.
God, he did fuck that fridge, didn't he?
Yeah.
Well,
Is that on the 404 podcast?
yeah,
Yeah,
but
it was
fuck
on
that
the
fridge. Yep,
Okay.
that's
But like, I see the first person games I see blowing up more so are like the indie ones. Like, what is that indie horror game where you're like walking around a subway or whatever? Like,
fuck. It was like a 360, right? Launch.
no.
Something with
This was a Steam game from last year.
Condemned?
Condemned.
No.
No.
The Exit 8. The Exit 8. This was like a indie game from
Okay.
last year.
Well, I mean, I think that's the reality of what's actually happening is that people are deciding to look to other places other than these reliable third-party publishers that have been around forever. It's like, well, if they play on a game, maybe it'll be interesting. And they're like, actually, it's going to be way more interesting if it's a smaller team taking risks because they can actually, whether they can afford to or not, those teams just seem to like feel like, oh, we could take risks because what does it matter? We're already making a risk by making a video game in the first place. And when it comes to these bigger studios, they like are like the risk is either a new IP, and that requires a ton of investment and a ton of time to get people to care about it, or they did spend a lot of money to acquire an IP, and then you hope that's actually going to pay off. And so then they don't even consider risks in a lot of other like gameplay mechanics and things like that. And the indie side of things, it's like, well, these games keep getting better and bigger and are starting to replace these games that were coming from big third-party publishers. And people are starting to pay attention to that. And that's just going to keep happening more and more. And these bigger publishers are going to have a harder and harder time kind of justifying why we've been waiting for their games when there's a million other games we could be paying attention to.
Sorry. Earlier, sorry to go off track here. Earlier, I referenced something you referenced earlier. I thought you were making a joke about the 404 podcast because I thought that was the thing Bakalar used to be on. And then I referenced that, and I was like, wait, let me Google. Was that the name of the Bakalar? What was your CNET gimmick, Bakalar?
What the fuck are we talking about, man?
I realized I looked it up, and I think I didn't understand the reference and the joke I was making, so I wanted to correct myself. What was you did a podcast for like 90 years.
It's like 404
in internet years, yeah, I guess that's right. Yeah, it was called the 404 show.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, was that what you were referencing earlier, Grubb?
Yes, that's what I was referencing earlier.
Oh, wait, I just Googled it, and I see the 404 Media podcast, and it was something else. And I was like, oh, I hope I didn't think I was joking about something else.
Do I need to be suing
get your
somebody?
trademark lawyers on that shit, yeah.
Sue?
It looks like this is a big thing. They got the 404 Media podcast. This is not your thing. This is a Vice thing. This is people that quit Vice.
Oh, shit.
Oh, God.
Yep, orbital strike.
Oh, no, I was going to say, I thought that was the Bakalar thing. Okay.
That is, no, we got it. We were correct all along, Dan.
Okay, we'll get the lawyers
Yeah,
on
you
it.
guys got it. You guys got it.
Yeah. Okay,
You're
cool.
good.
All right.
We had some rumors about the Switch 2 have been popping off kind of nonstop. This is from last week. Switch 2 will probably be backward compatible. A reliable leaker suggests Nintendo Switch 2 will have backwards compatibility with OG Switch games, both physical and digital. Nintendo is rumored to be working on a successor to the Switch, blah, blah, blah. The rumor came from Universo Nintendo by way of, or came from PH Brazil by way of Universo Nintendo. Both seem to have a pretty decent track record of this. And then we saw Nate the Hate, who has also a very good track record of Nintendo rumors, back this up. He went on Reset Era and said that the dev kits have backward compatibility. And this is something that is now going around pretty widely that, hey, this thing's going to actually have backward compatibility. If you're listening to that and you're like, duh, everything needs backward compatibility these days, I'm 100% with you, but Nintendo is switching up the kind of chip that they're using. That the NVIDIA chip is going to be a whole new generation. There is no guarantee that the Switch games would have worked. This required effort from probably both NVIDIA and Nintendo. At the same time, though, they needed to just do that because, of course, you need to have backward compatibility, right?
I mean, I never assume that anything is going to be that simple or just work the way it should with Nintendo. As much as I love Nintendo stuff, it's like, okay, I bought 1 billion virtual console games on the Wii, and then to play them on the Wii U, I had to pay an extra $1.50 to get the like Wii U gamepad version, and then none of that carried over to the Switch. So like, I'm certainly not going to just assume it's going to work because like it's never just worked or just been simple in the past with Nintendo. Yeah. So hearing that they might actually be backwards compatible this time is definitely good news.
Right. And you combine that with this actually probably was pretty challenging. This probably was pretty hard to pull off. But NVIDIA likely developed a compatibility layer similar to what happens when you run Windows games on the Steam Deck through the Proton layer. Something similar is probably happening here. But NVIDIA has very good software engineers, good hardware engineers. They probably came up with a solution for Nintendo so they could implement it here. But that, just the difficulty of that combined with Nintendo's history, there was reason to really be skeptical about backward compatibility with the Switch 2. Sounds like this should work. What do you guys think it actually ends up looking like, though? Do you think it's going to be just full backward compatibility for every game and they won't run any better? Because there is some rumors that some of the games are actually seeing performance enhancements.
I don't think it's going to run any better.
You're probably right.
But I mean, I think you get the basic benefits of just like things that have to happen, right? Like,
well, yeah, if it's outputting at 4K,
Yeah.
like, yeah, sure. It'll upscale and stuff.
Yeah, outside of that, I wouldn't be surprised if there's no tangible benefit.
Or things like, aren't there some games on Switch that will run slightly better, like docked versus undocked? Like, I wonder if this will kind of like, even that playing field.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of people who have upclocked the CPU and GPU inside the Switch and have made games just run better that way by hacking their Switches. Maybe Nintendo would be more willing to tap into that with new hardware. We'll see. We'll see.
What's upclock?
I don't know. What's upclock with you, man?
Oh my God, Jan. Oh my
God. Let's see here. Oh yeah, there's also rumors that the Switch 2 could get revealed in March. That's like going around from some reliable leakers as well.
Mario Day?
Hey, Jan, that's a really good poll. And the
new mainline Mario.
One of the things that might like lean into this is the rumored direct that might still be happening this week. Who knows? Microsoft's got that thing, could like derail things. There's a not a 0% chance that happens. But it's probably could still happen Thursday. The rumor is that's going to be a partner direct, which means no first party announcements at that direct, which means that they won't really have any, like they're not going to have Metroid Prime 4 probably for this first half of this year. So why not at that point go into March, start talking about the new hardware. You can launch that 6 months later in the beginning of the holiday season and just go from there. God, if it's Mario Day, March 10th, and we get an announcement. Now, the March 10th week, still, they might do something with that.
And
I'll work on a Sunday.
Yeah,
me too for that.
All the conventional thinking and wisdom, right, is like another Odyssey, right?
Or just the follow-up, like the next mainline one. Like I don't think it's going to be Odyssey 2 at this point because like the one time they did like a straight up like Galaxy 2 was like very quickly after it was like 2 years after Galaxy.
Right.
At this point, I think it's going to be the next step in like the mainline series. It's going to be Super Mario blank something else.
What's he doing now?
And that Mario team did Bowser's Fury, but since Odyssey, so they've already been like messing around with other stuff.
Yeah,
seems like they're going off in another direction. Although I always got the sense that they were going to do Mario Odyssey, like maybe DLC, and then they turn that into a sequel. We'll see, but it probably is going to be a whole new game at this point.
Cool.
GTA 6, meanwhile, may not come out until much later in 2025. We know that the game is scheduled for 2025 after that launch or that reveal trailer said, hey, 2025, that's the year it's coming out. But up until recently, the assumption was that would mean early 2025 because Take-Two said they were going to make about $8 billion in revenue, which is way more than they've ever made before next year. They did, in the most recent earnings report, revise that down by about $1 billion to $7 billion. And you know what would probably make about $1 billion in its first couple of weeks? GTA 6. So the assumption now is the game is moved into later in 2025, which is not too shocking, right? A big game like this getting delayed these days is par for the course.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
No,
I can't say that I
He's-
care also, though.
Sure.
I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if it gets pushed into 2026. Like,
Absolutely.
Yep.
Come
Big
on.
game.
Of course.
Helldivers 2 Studio is promising a make good. Sony's largest PC game launch has faced login issues and reward tracking problems. It's also faced those on PS5, despite positive player reception. They had a recent patch that aimed at addressing login issues, but they had to roll that back because it caused performance issues. So what they're going to do is a compensation has been promised for lost rewards via increased reward events to mitigate progression setbacks. So basically, they're going to have like a double XP event to make up for it and maybe let that last for a little while. I will say progression in that game, pretty slow. pretty slow.
Yeah.
Some of that
Makes it feel like they want you to
currency-
spend some money.
Some of that currency, because even like the green currency, the samples, like those take a while to get. I haven't been able to buy any of those actual things yet. But then there's 2 other types of currency I haven't even seen yet that are listed, and I'm like, I don't even know how the fuck you get that.
Is it like the super samples? We started collecting some super
No, the
samples.
super stuff is like also the paid currency, and you can find that out in the field. So that's the stuff
Right.
with like the rotating item shop. But there's like a purple and like an orange currency that I have not even seen yet.
Have you guys upgraded your ship at all? I've got 50, and then you need 60 to upgrade that. So
That's about where I'm at. Yeah.
yeah, it's slow going. But hey, a double XP event, I'll take advantage of that. The game is very popular though. It has really caught on. It is by far Sony's most popular PC release.
It's great.
The God of War launch on PC had about 80,000 concurrent players. This had 150,000 concurrent players at its peak. So.
Grubb,
double
Bummed, it does seem to have cross play, but I downloaded it on PC. And it does not
cross-progression?
seem to have cross progression. no.
bummer.
That is a bummer. I was wondering you
nuts.
were thinking about switching to PC, but you were ended
I was
up back
going
on
to,
PS5.
but yeah, not now.
Grubb,
Yeah,
does this
not
count as one of like PlayStation's games as a service games that they've been talking about in their lineup?
A lot of people are assuming it has hit 200,000 concurrent. Hammond of Texas says real quick. Thank you, Hammond. I think a lot of people assume it is one of those. It probably is. But I wonder if they think it's like not exactly because it's not from a studio that they necessarily own. I don't think they own Arrowhead, even though they published this game. This is a first-party game. It definitely was 100% a first-party game. But I think they might not necessarily consider it part of that dozen games that they're working on. Maybe. I'd be interested to see what they say if you were to ask them that. Ubisoft CEO is defending Skull and Bones full price tag and calls it a quadruple A game. Skull and Bones, Ubisoft's multiplayer pirate naval battleship title, faces player doubts due to delays in production reboots. Despite concerns, the game launches in a week with an €80 price tag. I think it's $70, and a game as a service format. The free beta has been available. People have been trying it. And because of these concerns, Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot came out to defend the game, saying players will see that Skull and Bones is a complete game. It's a really big game, and we think people will really see how vast and complete it is. It's a really complete triple. And then he stops and says, quadruple A game that will deliver it in the long run. And I can't help but think of that John Lovett's like pathological liar character because I'm 40 years old.
Yeah, that's the ticket.
Yeah. It's a triple A. No, quadruple A game.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean,
Quadruple A, yeah.
the extra A is that joke. It's the Spinal Tap joke. This one's got 4 A's though.
Yep.
It goes up to 11.
It's also the more A's you add, the more it's like a scream for the amount of time that goes into making these games. Yeah. This is an insane thing to say. That's just like a really wild thing. I don't think it's going to convince many people that it actually is worth $70, but we'll see. Maybe this game is also secretly kind of okay, like Suicide Squad. I have not actually played Skull and Bones yet, so
I did at E3 2017
Oh,
God.
shit.
Yeah, that's right.
or 18. Yeah,
Was that the behind closed doors one?
I think so.
Yeah.
It definitely was in a hot room.
You remember
I
that?
tried to get in that.
You remember? You should write a book of the temperature of rooms you've been in.
Oh, dude, E3 is just one big hot room, right? I mean,
What? No,
They-
like every once in a while, you get in an air conditioned room and then you fall asleep because it's way too comfortable. So
I like
well,
those. That's my
those are
favorite.
but those
too.
are very infrequent. I feel like that's why everyone would always get sick too. I feel like because you just put people in these small rooms and they would like jerry rig this like, MacGyver-esque HVAC situation that like
Yeah.
who knows how that was moving air around. Oh boy.
Quad A is not a new term. I remember Visceral
Quad
used to say
A.
that. They,
Yes.
I was in Canada checking out Army of Two Devil's Cartel for Game
Oh,
Informer,
yeah.
and all the Visceral people were big on calling it a Quad A game. And Visceral as a studio always said that to the point where Dead Space 3, if you go in there's like a gift shop in one of the ships or something, and there's shirts that say Quad A on them. So
Yep.
they,
people
the
kept
term's been
pointing
around.
to Perfect Dark as the first Quad A game. It's like, nope. Visceral had been saying that term for years.
Army of Two, The Devil's Cartel is the first
Yep.
Quad A game.
Yep, they were too big. Sega reported sluggish holiday sales. Sega's Q3 fiscal year 2024 financial results revealed sluggish sales for premium titles, including Sonic Superstars. They did a notice of revision of operating results forecast. And basically, they're just like Sonic Superstars, Endless Dungeon, Total War Pharaoh. I think Like a Dragon, Gaiden, the man who had a name and forgot it.
And a
couple others.
Love.
Yeah, and a thing called Love. They're like, none of these really sold like we were hoping throughout the holiday season. Sonic Superstars is one they seem to call out specifically as having some trouble selling. I would argue they should have made it a better video game. It kind of stinks. It's not very fun.
They at one point had a good direction for 2D Sonic that people were pretty into. Yeah.
And it was like really appealed to those Sonic maniacs out there.
Yeah.
They were and everyone universally loved it. And they just made another one of those. That would have been a good idea. But that
would have been a good alternate history. Yeah.
Clearly, that was never on the table. They're probably doing a lot better. Sega / Atlas just released Persona 3 Reload and Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. Both of those games we know are doing very well. I think we got confirmation that both have sold over 1 million copies each. So they're doing pretty good in this first quarter. I think a lot of people were just like, I'm going to wait for those games I really want to play. And you should have made a better Sonic game. Finally, Disney. Oh, not finally. There's one more after this that Jan added. Disney invests $1.5 billion in Epic Games and announced a major Fortnite partnership. Basically, Disney now has an equity stake worth $1.5 billion in Epic. Tim Sweeney's still the majority owner of that company, so it's not like this is new ownership over there. As part of this deal, though, Epic has promised back to Disney that they are going to make them a connected, persistent universe that is based on all of Disney's properties, not just where you can play games based on Lilo and Stitch or whatever, but also where you can like consume content and watch things and shop. It's a metaverse is what they're saying. Bob Iger was quoted as saying, "When I saw Gen Z and Gen Alpha and millennials, the amount of time they were spending in terms of total media screen time on video games, it was stunning, equal to what they spend on TVs and movies. The conclusion I reached, we have to be there." So just a real brain genius over there.
This reminds me, was it Katzenberg? Was he the Quibi guy who was like, I had the idea of this when I noticed all these kids are on their phones a lot.
Yeah.
What if we had like short phone videos?
This is Quibi level thing in the world.
It is Quibi level. Oh my God.
Bob Iger also said that this thing is probably a couple years away. So we'll see what it ends up looking like over time. I don't know. I think it could be cool. I could also see this thing fizzling out very quickly, just based on like these other Fortnite games that we've seen recently where there was some excitement around them. And now I mean, at the very least, I know people like that Lego game, but no one really talks about the Rocket Racing or the Rock Band one. So Epic putting their best efforts into this doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to turn into a major thing, but it does make some sense for Disney. I just also I think I'd prefer if Disney was like, what if we just kept making, big, real bespoke video games instead of having to have our own online internet video gaming hub? Any interest from you, Jan, our resident Disney adult?
Not really at all.
That's comforting to hear.
Yeah. I mean, like, I like Disney, but I like the different parts of Disney that are being presented here. Like, I don't see Sora joining Goofy or Donald in a Fortnite world. I also prefer the parks, and I guess we were talking about this last week on Game S, but I guess you could do like a 1-for-1 recreation of Disneyland, Disney World, some of the parks across the world, and throw yourself into that.
Shoot people.
And then shoot people, I guess. I don't know if that's
they get, like,
the imagery you want.
And stuff like that.
Paintballs. I don't know.
By the way, I have my hand on the mouse ready to kick Minotti out if he
Thank
jumps
you.
in. So
your diligence is much appreciated.
You're just going to destroy things for Sean. Just keep that in mind.
I don't really see an interest in it because I don't currently have the need to pull my friends into a virtual social hub to converse and talk and just like hang out. That's what like Discord or just hanging out in person is for. But I can kind of see a world where there's Disney freaks out there that are into this.
Yeah, I always think of these big companies, and a company like Disney feels like it should have the capacity to sort of direct traffic and say, you care about all these things, come over here and play in our thing that we're setting up for you. And then it's like, well, the reality is you're going to have a lot better luck if you just went and made a Disney thing inside of Roblox where the kids already are. Now, a lot of kids are already playing Fortnite, but this is not talking about like oh, we're going to have a Disney event inside Fortnite. They've done that, and that's worked a bunch of times, and that's already
Right.
been very successful for them. This is going to be something separate, Disney's own thing that is attached to Fortnite in many ways, but it doesn't necessarily mean it will have the same foot traffic that Fortnite has.
Sure.
So I just, it reminds me of like a Club Penguin or something that it could be popular for a little bit, and then one day it's just going to go away and disappear, and probably not that long after it hits the market. It'll probably be like 5 years later, the thing could get shut down because no one's using it anymore. So, hey, I get why they feel they need to do this, but Disney's efforts in video games have come in waves before, and they always seem to fizzle out. I expect this one probably to be pretty similar.
You know, we're saying this, and I completely agree, and I feel the same way. But Disney also chose Fortnite to be the method of revealing that somehow Palpatine returned for their big numbered Star Wars movies.
Yes, it is.
So, I don't know. They're weird over there, huh? They make weird decisions.
A lot
They
of
make
weird stuff.
decisions.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. And then finally, there's a headline here. I'll read it. San Francisco will host Pokemon World Championship for the first time since 2016. Jan, you going to be okay?
No. I have to get back in the gym now.
Oh, shit.
I have to somehow relearn and get into competitive Pokemon. And then within the time span of the next Pokemon World Championships, I need to hit the circuits, y'all.
You'll be fine.
No. I need to legitimately, to compete in Worlds, need to compete in small tournaments and absolutely smoke the competition.
I got faith in you.
Now, the good news is we do have someone who plays a lot of competitive in-game Pokemon. His name's Turbo Sean, and he would probably be willing to like partner up with you on this and make it happen.
Here's what we have to do. I have to call upon like an Avengers style of Pokemon like training courses. I have to get Turbo Sean. I have to get Jake Decker from the GameSpot homies, and then I have to get Callie. I have to get Callie to help guide me and land the plane. And like, all right, don't go with Sean's advice of putting nothing but low bunnies on the team. Okay, cool. Yeah, that was a weird freaky thing that he likes. I can't buy into Worlds. I can't use the game's journalism to be like, well, I think you should put me on the bracket or whatever.
Well, Phil Theobald works at Pokemon Company, and he wrote a top 10 list for us this year. So there you go.
I need to weasel my way in. I need to somehow take a big name down. This could be like a Karate Kid thing. The Giant Bomb gym has to open back up. I thought I was out, and they pulled me back in.
That'd be neat.
For some reason, I just keep thinking of the dodgeball scene where the guy's like, if you could dodge a wrench, you could dodge a ball. Now I just want to throw a wrench at you.
Yeah, let's get Rip Torn on Team Giant Bomb.
Rip Torn.
Yeah, he's not dead.
He's probably super dead.
Even
I
if
think
he's
Dennis Hopper
dead.
killed him.
Yeah.
He's dead.
Dennis Hopper.
I need to get championship points. I forget how many I need to get into like the bracket to actually compete. Fuck. This pains me inside. I might need to travel next year, guys. Just so I can compete in my hometown. God. All right.
That does it for the news. Jan, this show's back over to you, buddy, as long as you can handle it.
I can't. I need to. This is how we get. Oh, no.
You got to start drinking raw eggs, like 7 or 8 raw eggs in a big cup.
Why?
Bakalar, would you ever drink raw eggs? Like, is there like any situation, like, could we like dare you? Would you do it or what?
I guess I would do it for like a good amount of money, but isn't it like, is it dangerous?
It's
I
like,
mean,
it's
technically.
it's a little dangerous. Actually, it turns out, okay, I heard this. This could be wrong, so feel free to correct me. I heard that like the eggshell has more salmonella on it than the actual egg itself inside. So you should wash your hands if you handle eggs no matter what. But the like actual egg content inside doesn't usually contain too much salmonella. But hey, I would still probably be careful drinking raw eggs.
Yeah, I really like eggs, but mostly when they're cooked.
What if I really like
sure.
Rocky?
Well then,
then you should be
What choice
doing
do you
it
have?
every morning.
you have to do this. Yeah.
Yeah, he looked really cool doing this.
I don't think it looks cool at all. I think
With that music playing? You
No,
don't think
no,
Rocky
no,
looked
no.
cool?
drinking a glass of slime is not awesome. any way
Pounding
you
the
slice
pavement
it.
early in the
mean,
morning?
No,
That's probably the coolest anyone's ever looked drinking slime, though. So
yeah.
top tier
I-
slime drinker.
I mean,
Yeah.
I guess that doesn't say much. Yeah, I'm not like completely adverse to it. I also think like it's a lot of cholesterol. And
Okay.
that's
It's the good
important.
cholesterol. That's what I say whenever someone says something has cholesterol in it. I don't know what it means.
Okay.
You got your LDLs, you got your HDLs, yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Triglycerides?
Oh, the triglycerides, right? Am I right?
That's where they get you. That's where they get you.
That's where they get you.
For the road to Pokemon Worlds, do we frame this journey for me that I have to do now? I have to do this. I have to get rid of every other possible side hobby now because of this. Do we go for a Rocky story where like Sean could be like a Mickey, or do we go for like a Karate Kid type of thing where
Mickey was famously old.
Yeah, Sean's old, right?
Sean's thing is being young.
Well, hey, we can always afford a little old person makeup, though, Dan.
Oh, sure.
Just put a little like salt and pepper in his hair, you know?
Yeah, he's fine. All of a sudden he's 80. Yeah.
Or do we go for like a Karate Kid type of deal where he's Mr. Miyagi again, another old person?
Can you do a one-arm push-up?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Rocky then.
What's the difference between Mickey and Mr. Miyagi in your head, Jan? What's the difference there?
One's Asian.
Yeah, like they're very
good
different.
point.
One is
Sean's
like,
Hispanic, I think. So yeah,
Okay,
that's close enough.
It's neither of those still.
I feel like they train very differently, do they not? Like
Mickey is way angrier.
Mickey yells
Right.
all the time. Where
Yeah, he's an
Mr. Miyagi's
angry
like
old drunk man. Yeah.
very
Okay.
chill.
Here's
you
what
know,
we
like-
do.
Mr. Miyagi's just sad.
I have to complete the poker arc where I either lose an obscene amount of money playing poker, but I develop the skills of not showing any tells in poker, right? And like I get a cool head on my shoulders where we defeat everyone in Pokemon because they think I'm going against the rules. All right. I'm doing nothing but bluffs.
It's the perfect
Really,
crime.
what this should be is you abandon this halfway through and we just go to the World Series of Poker instead. Like
What if
that.
they-
Would love that.
Me too.
What if they combined poker and Pokemon? Would you just
Why would you
explode?
say that to me? Why would
Oh,
you say
it's
that to me?
Pokemon.
Great.
It's
I don't know what it'd be like. That
Pokemon.
sounds great.
Pokemon.
Holy fuck.
Yes.
Fuck me.
It's Pokemon.
That's gotta
Bakalar,
be
gotta
something.
count
It's right
all
there. It's
the-
right there.
Yeah.
I
How
report
come
to
they
you
haven't
in the
done that?
structure of this greater company. Why, me as your employee, why would you wish ill
Not
upon
my
me like
employee.
that?
They gave
59
Pokemon
Pokemon
guns
ideas on
before they gave them
Pinterest.com.
cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, like let Pokemon loose in a casino.
Oh God.
And then I will try to catch them all as a problem.
Yeah, well, hold them all.
Becker, I got mad at you again during the Super Bowl
Why?
because they kept showing pictures of the sphere, and I'm like, look how fucking cool that thing is.
Yeah.
How dare
Oh,
Becker?
you got mad
How
at
dare
me.
he? How dare he not think this is amazing?
There was such a good Onion post where they were like, I forget what I think they were like, in honor of Super Bowls, the sphere like posted like CTE damaged brains or something.
Jesus Christ.
It was really good.
All right. I feel
Onion
like
perfect.
I'm developing a CT by thinking about poker and Pokemon and then just trying to
Yep.
combine them together. Oh my God. Oh God. I have to start and now finish the story. All right,
I
folks.
just think it'd be really cool to like combine those two games. I think
Yeah,
they're-
like putting Pokemon on cards would be awesome.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, they have Pokemon cards, though. Oh, no, we can't get into that because if I don't make it into competitive VGC 2v2 Pokemon, I can always default and go back to the cards. I thought I kicked
Yeah.
the cards.
Yeah, that's
No,
not
but
an
you
incredible
didn't
waste
kick-
of money.
you didn't kick the cards. I think the cards were with you all along.
Yeah, you
And
can
now-
take the boy out of the cards. We can't take the cards out of the boy.
God, we
And
roll
now, like,
into Worlds and we have a posse. Sean as my cut man. And then we have Barber Jan right behind me as my hype man.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Can I be your Uncle Polly? I'll just give you access to like a meat freezer for you to play in.
Please.
Yeah, you could be really
And-
awkward during Thanksgiving. It'll
Yeah, and then
rule.
fuck
yeah.
a robot. Yeah.
Yeah, fuck
Yeah.
a robot.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Oh, man.
I love her.
Proud
Oh,
of us.
man. All right. Let's go take a break so I can go think
did good
about my
work.
life decisions. Then we'll read emails.
Okay.
Okay, thanks to the homie Cam, we've identified that all I got to do is win a regional tournament, and I'm automatically invited to enter into Worlds. Alternatively, I have to get 600 championship points, which is a lot of points.
Are there
get.
regional ones that are in like Wyoming and there's like 2 idiot kids in there and you can just kick their ass?
100%. That's why I'm saying.
Oh, man. What about Fargo?
No, I've seen the gamers in Fargo based off of Dan's footage.
They're pretty serious.
There's a lot
that's
there.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, stay out of there. Stay clear.
Oh God, we got him. It's like Glee all over again. We gotta make it to regionals.
Oh boy!
Shouts out to my Glee heads out there. No, that's a problematic show when you look at it. In retrospect. Also, worth noting, almost every regional championship this year has been the largest Pokemon. Okay, great. Okay,
That's cool.
Emails.
I believe in you, Jan.
Emails. Bombcast.
They were called Gleeks.
Oh,
not Glee heads. They were called Gleeks.
Oh, that's like the thing you could do with your mouth, like spitting out a little water.
Maybe you can. I never could.
I could never do it reliably. I'd only do it by accident.
I can do it.
I don't like the word gleeks.
Oh,
anyway,
it's a rough word.
Bombcast at giantbomb.com is the email address to send your emails to. I read virtually everything that comes in. Thank you for the coupons. No thank you for the weird mailing magazines that we've been subscribed to now. Got to unsubscribe us from those weirdos. Also, the funny thing is, a lot of them say, hey, Jeff. And I don't know if they're talking about Jeff Kurtzman or Jeff Bakalar or Jeff Grubb at this point.
A lot.
Or it's just like a Jeff.
The nebulous Jeff.
The nebulous Jeff. And we don't talk about the nebulous Jeff because
no, you can.
It's too much for our brains to handle. None of us have opened
it's a
our third
fifth-dimensional
eye.
object, yeah.
Exactly. First email comes from Phil. Phil writes in, Morning Bombers. Looking for some advice on finding easier short games since I'm finding it harder and harder to find time to play games these days. I'm about to turn 38, have 2 kids, one who hates sleep, and about to have a third. So I'm looking for something nice and easy to enjoy while I'm home after the new edition arrives. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate all the hours of entertainment I get from the show. Cheers, Phil.
Thanks, Phil. A short hike is the one that comes to mind first. If you haven't played that, you should. It really is like 45 minutes, but you can have a lot of fun just exploring it. And it feels it's like a satisfying, like full arc 45 minutes. A lot of people recommend a Little Gator game. I've only played that a little bit, but I guess it's pretty similar.
Yeah. Another one I'm looking at howlongtobeat.com right now. If you want main story, 5 hours. Main plus sides is only 7.5. It's Mortal Kombat Mythologies Sub-Zero for the PlayStation 1.
Yeah, that's
a breezy one.
Yeah, just a quick one. Yeah.
You're not gonna get frustrated with that at all. Also, you don't have to paint yourself like Quan Chi if you play it at home.
Yeah, but it's more fun if you do.
He just wanted to really bad. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, at this point, he really does.
I don't know, a run-based game like Balatro coming out, I feel like would be good in those short bursts. Something like Slay the Spire, even.
Ooh.
Yeah, pick up a hobby game. Yeah.
Vampire Survivors is excellent for that.
Yeah,
right.
Totally. Hades, if you've missed Hades.
One Mary Kish was just telling me about that I really want to start is Go Mecha Ball. That sounds extremely
I
up my
wanted
alley.
to try that one
like
out. I haven't downloaded.
I checked that out for like a good 2 hours. It's pretty decent. It kind of has like the fast-paced nature of Hades, but you're in a ball. All right, next.
Don't worry about beating games. Just play them until you're done, and then move on to something else. It's fine. You're a grown man.
If you have Steam, that Steam refund policy is pretty generous. If you've only played 1-2 hours, try it.
The 3 kids thing, mistake. They outnumber you now. You're screwed, man.
You said
you
not
have a
me.
third,
That was
Grubb?
Well,
I
I would die if I had a third kid. I would literally melt in front of you guys. You guys would see me disintegrate on this podcast.
What is the multiplier? Because I have heard that 2 is so much harder than 1. So if a 2 times multiplier would be like when you had the second kid, it was just twice as hard because it's twice as many kids. Is it like a 2.5? Is it a 3? Like what would you say?
I think it's like if you go from 2 to 3, my guess is it's like. Wait, what do you say from 1 to 2?
From 1 to 2, what would you say?
1 to 2, it's like 2.5 times because it's like because if you're already tired and now you're it's not like it depends on how old the first kid is, I suppose. But if it's like 2-3 years older, it's like, well, I still got to deal with this thing trying to kill itself constantly. So for me, it was especially rough because I worked from home Steph went to work, and I watched the kids and got them to like where they were going every day for like 5 years.
Yeah.
Really did just I think I have brain damage from it, Bakalar. I think I really do. So
I remember I was in the hospital room with my mom when they broke the news. It was just me and my mom in the hospital when they said like, "Oh, hey, it's twins that you're having." And I remember thinking just like dumb kid, just like, "Wow, that's awesome! You got 2, you got double." I thought it was just positive. And I remember her just being like, "Oh," and like she like went to go break the news to her husband at the time, and he was standing on a ladder at work, and she's like, "Hey, we're having twins," and him be like, "Oh," like it wasn't bad news, but you could tell it was this like washing over of like, "Oh
it's
my,
too much like, good news is what it
like,
is. Not
why
bad
are you just
news.
happy and popping champagne bottles?" You know.
Uh-huh.
Next email comes in from End Communication. I don't believe they wrote their actual name. That Catch Me If You Dan feature was great. P.S. Y'all are great too. End Communication.
I am extremely jealous of you, Dan.
It
That
was
looked
so fun.
So fun.
It was 24 hours and it was so much fun. I would do that again anywhere. Just landing and trying to find your fun is a great thing to do. And,
I want to do it again, and I want to like have like a fixer waiting for you unbeknownst to you, and just tell you go there and have someone's like, okay, this person's going to get you to all the things that you didn't know were happening, so you didn't have tickets for. No, they already got it. You're already good.
That's fun. I like that.
Yeah. So I'll just keep doing it.
The twist I started thinking of halfway through yesterday is the part of Catch Me If You Can that we didn't really lean into is that Leo is like a con man, right?
Oh, the crimes. Yeah.
The crime.
Well, Dan is
I
a
could do
con
crimes.
man.
Yeah,
No. I don't want Dan.
Dan.
I don't want Dan to get tied up with anything on accident or whatever or on
Well,
purpose.
apparently that isn't that Frank Abigail story like not real? Also?
Of course not.
He's
It's
a
like a
fibber.
Frank Dukes.
It was just all. It was just not like he wasn't even.
It's like
I don't
all
know,
great stories completely made up.
No,
Yeah.
that's not true. I saw
The
the Iron
Bible?
Claw. What do you? What do you mean?
Great
no,
story.
there was. I thought there was something about the sort of like sensational.
It's sensationalized. Yes,
It's a movie. Yeah.
I like the idea
It's a
of
movie.
of doing
the book was a lie.
Catch Me If You Dan, the con man. We send Dan to a city, but part of his time in that city is he's attending a convention he knows nothing about.
He can go to
This is just
SoftCon.
Hitman. You're describing Hitman.
Jan,
But, like-
you gotta. You know what? Sometimes you just gotta like keep that to yourself and tell us offline.
Wait,
dude.
so
now we're
I'm
committed.
going to like a pizza making convention. I
No,
have to
you're
pretend
gonna
to be
go
a
to like. I
pizza
think we should
maker.
send you to SawCon.
I'm not
You're
doing it.
No, you're the con man. We're calling you the con man. You go
Not
around to
doing it.
different cons that you have no idea what they're
con man.
about.
Oh, so
Yeah.
I'm not trying to pretend to be
No,
like.
no.
No, you're just.
Yes.
Yes.
I
But
see.
you are
Okay.
trying to assimilate in a weird way. Like you go to, I don't know, the vacuum convention and you like pretend to know your way around a vacuum or something like that. I would like that a lot.
This feels like that like How To with John Wilson's show, where he would just
Little bit,
wind up
yeah.
at like a referee dinner or a vacuum convention. Yeah.
Yeah, this is very different.
It's not first. I'm the third person version. of
Yeah,
it.
you're in it. You're starring in it. We're following you around. We're not just editing, infinite hours of footage to tell.
I
a
went to an
story.
anime convention once. That was
Once?
something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I had no idea what the hell was going on there.
Just imagine, like, I don't know, we send Dan to like a music convention where there's like, oh, here's all these effect pedals for your electric harp. You want to try it out, Dan? And then Dan is trying to play the harp for the first time in front of these experts.
I'd give it a shot.
And they're
Pretty fucking great.
I like it.
Oh god.
I'm sorry, and I'm not sorry. John from Greece writes in about some Switch 2 cues. Hi, Bomb Crew. First off, love the show. I had a thought that I didn't see anyone else talk about. If I'm not mistaken, a bunch of Switch physical copies didn't have the entire game in the cart to cut costs, and you had to download it. A potential Switch 2 will have better graphics, and this will need even bigger game files. So my question is, do they charge more money for physical games? Do they make all physical games require downloads? Do they change the cartridge format and potentially make a model with or without the Switch 1 port? Something else entirely? Thanks for your insight, John from Greece.
I looked into this, and my memory is going to be pretty bad on it. But my understanding was that there is a new flash storage technology that is capable of much larger sizes. Whether or not Nintendo's able to use that in conjunction with having the Switch One games be supported is up to be debated. Maybe they're more expensive, so that's why they wouldn't use them anyhow. The big problem is like the 32 gigabyte cards are the biggest that they sell right now. They do have a 64 gigabyte card. They do have one. Sean, this is a point of contention between me and him because he says that they don't exist in a Jeopardy question once. They do have, they just haven't used them in any of the games yet because it is prohibitively expensive. So any game that's bigger than 32 gigabytes has required a download. Honestly, the most likely thing to happen here is they just keep basically doing that and requiring downloads. I think they're going to be very okay with kind of ushering people over to digital only, and that'll be kind of part of that, I think.
How much are Switch cards now for new games? Is it 70?
Yeah, well, Zelda was 70, everything else is 60.
Okay. That was it.
But the games will definitely be 70 on the Switch too. And that could maybe help with a 64 gigabyte cartridge card.
Next email comes from Richard in the UK, not a state, the United Kingdom. Thank you for clarifying. I didn't know what state began with a U. I thought I'd check out Balatro after your recommendation last week, and now I can't stop playing it. I played 6 hours of this demo in one night, and now I feel like I have to buy multiple copies to justify it. Please stop with the recommendations. You are making me poor. Love and smooches, Richard from the UK. Sent from Proton Mail for iOS.
Okay.
All right. I guess we're just gonna stop talking about games we really really like.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good problem, right? These are good problems.
Yeah.
Embrace your good problems.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you something. Most of life, bad problems. Right?
Problems inherently are bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, but I do enjoy the phrase good problems. Like, whenever someone starts off and says, this is a good problem, and I'm like, yeah, that softened the blow. That's what I wanted to hear. It's a good problem.
And Richard, my friend, you only have to buy the one copy. You know, you I guess you could gift out copies if you want, but you just got to buy the one. And hey, maybe you don't even have to buy the full game. Maybe you're done. Maybe you've been Balatro'd out after who knows how much more time you've spent with it. But yeah, I recommend everyone to check it out. I hate Jeff Grubb.
That demo's probably going to stop working today. So
I hate Jeff Grubb for taking it in our Fantasy Critic League.
Yeah, I got it for $1.
God damn it.
I also got that Banishers game, which got like an 83 or 84, and I got that for $5. So feeling pretty good about that.
All right. We had another email about checking out short games. Let's read it anyway. Hey guys, I have been struggling with finding time to play games like I used to, partially because life has become busier and also partially because I get tired quicker now. Was wondering how you guys decide which games to play and also how much time you put into them to decide whether you want to continue them or not.
It's not a conscious thing for me.
Yeah.
I think I just am like playing a game, and suddenly one day I stopped and didn't.
You know when you're done. It's for a reason.
I just
like
naturally know. Yeah, it's when you're full.
You know, that's all.
Yep.
Usually it's like the point where it's like, oh, I get what this is, and then not much long after that, I'm done. For most games.
Yeah, I say if you're like you have a bunch of options in front of you, just go with whichever your heart tells you. I feel like right now in 2024, if you pick one of these big games that have come out, there's a lot on the spoon. You're not gonna be having a bad time. Like I still got to circle back and finish Prince of Persia. Did y'all finish Prince of Persia?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh damn,
that's game of the year so far for me still.
Jesus H Christ. Okay.
Yeah.
Last email of the show comes from Christian, not Argentinian Christian. Hello, bombastic Hello, bombastic bombardiers. On the last Bombcast episode, the group posited the idea of marveling at what kind of objects might decorate the house of the auteur Hideo Kojima. That brings me to this question for you folks. I'm going to list off some strange, random objects. Please assign them to the various Bombcast hosts, co-hosts, and riffraff. I mostly mean Mike Minotti, that frequent the show. Feel free to suggest some or skip over the boring ones. And now they've listed a bunch of different objects. So the goal is we'll list an object, who that object belonged to as decoration in their house.
Got it.
First one.
Objects of power, if you will.
Sure. A shadow box of nondescript size 17 tennis shoes.
Bakalar.
What? No, why?
17?
Size
Shadow
17
box? Do
in
you
a
know what a
shadow
shadow
box.
box is? How are these fitting in a shadow box?
It's a big box.
Okay,
Asked and answered.
fair enough.
An empty urn knocked on its size.
Oh, that's
Dan
Minotti.
Reichert.
yeah.
Jeez, why?
Yeah, I think it's
I'm not
Minotti.
thinking wise.
Minotti's the one who's got like
Yeah.
Urn-ergy, right? It's like
He's got Urn-ergy, you mean?
Urn-ergy. Maybe it's just like code grandmas. Maybe we'll think of that. I don't
Sure.
know.
Oh, okay. Is he preparing it for himself? Or
Yeah, he's just like
okay.
he's like that. He looks at it once a day and he goes, "That's the destination. That's where this journey ends.
Jesus.
That's where this journey ends, right there." You know,
A pristine bird cage.
Dan Reichert.
I was gonna say
What about me yells bird?
I just feel like you're someone who would.
You squaw.
yeah.
I think
like you
birds are
just have-
cool. Like I like birds, but I like all animals.
Just feel like the way I'm understanding your new home to be, I just feel like there's just going to be a room with a pristine bird cage in one of them, a la a Resident Evil room or something
I'd
like
put a
that.
parrot in there and I would try to teach it how to talk and do funny things.
Yeah, so that
Okay, all right.
this tracks,
Yeah. Yeah.
A signed copy of The Hobbit, but the back cover is torn off. Lucy.
Lucy.
Well, if the back
Yeah.
cover's torn off, I think she would be
Yeah, 'cause she
very
ripped
upset
it out
by
of someone else's hands.
Oh, okay, that makes sense then. Tell a story.
A replica of the Christmas Story lamp, but instead of fishnets, it is one of those e-girl stockings with a silhouette of a cat on them. Sean.
Turbo
That's
Sean.
not. Oh, Sean. Yeah.
Sean.
okay.
That's Sean.
1,000,000% Turbo
100%
Sean.
that's Sean.
Yep.
A number one uncle mug with a broken handle.
That's Mike.
Oh, he is an uncle, right?
Yes. Well, I mean,
Okay, Mike,
I
yeah.
think probably most of us are, but maybe not.
Yeah,
But, yeah. Number one uncle, Mike.
A chandelier fixture that is truly terrifying to perceive.
What?
Bakalar.
Back
Yeah,
art.
back-
Some
Bakalar.
weird Halloween lamp or
Right,
something.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Leaves it up for Christmas.
hmm
A life-size wax statue of Johnny Depp, but it looks like it was left on the porch for about 2 hours too long when it got delivered. Grubb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
You got me.
It's not even like a specific Johnny Depp from a movie. It's just a
No.
Johnny Depp.
Just generic
Yeah.
Johnny Depp, like if he did commercials for like prescription drugs.
Yeah. A movie poster to a movie no one has ever heard of.
Tam.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Sure.
One of those little toys where it's like a bed of nails, but it leaves an impression of whatever is pushed into it.
Oh my
I've
God,
owned several of these.
who just brought that up? I think Lucy
I love
brought
these
it up.
fucking gimmicks.
I
I've
got one-
constantly
I got
shoved my
like-
face into it. My
I got
face
one
has
or
been
two
shoved into
upstairs
those
right
hundreds
now,
of
I mean.
times.
So it's you. So you're the
It's me.
With
I probably have
yeah.
one in the house now that my face has been shoved into a million times. Yeah.
And then the last one here, lightsabers made out of silverware.
Nikki.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if Nikki's a Star Wars person at all.
No, yeah, but made out of silverware though.
Sure.
That's weird.
Nikki's a silver person.
Oh, of course. Thank you for your time. Even if you don't read this on air, I appreciate you reading these weird house decoration ideas. Kindly, Christian, sounds like Christian, from Minotti's Perfect City, Orlando. I have no idea how to spell his last name, and I don't care to look it up.
Hey, you got it right.
Important. Not important.
Sent from my iPhone, from a hotel, in a bed. Christian, thank you. And thank you, everyone, for emailing into the show. Once again, bombcast@giantbomb.com is the email address to send your emails to, and I read all of them. I pour them out. Sometimes I print them out. And if you want to send like a special shout out to the crew or whoever else, I always forward them to the pertinent parties. Shouts out to you at home for listening to the Giant Bombcast. That's all we need to shout out. And hey, tomorrow's Valentine's Day. If you ain't got a Valentine's, we'll be your Valentines. Go get us flowers.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Not Dan.
I'm gonna
Not Dan.
screw it up.
No.
I'm gonna screw it up again. I know it.
It doesn't have to be this way, Jeff.
No matter
There's
what I
been-
do,
there's
Janny
been
boy,
plenty of time.
I can't figure it out.
What are these noises?
Maybe get a cameo from Brian Cox or something. Those are real hot right now.
$700. Yeah.
That's too much money.
The price has gone up, I think, because of Blight
Oh,
Club.
sure.
New interest.
But what do we got going on for the rest of the week, gentlemen? We have Game Mess Mornings popping off Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Tomorrow,
right.
another episode. installment of Flight Club. What is it? Mortal Kombat
Mythologies. Mike
Mixologies,
McQuanchi. Mitch McQuanchi. Yes. And also, I'll be a lot more help for Mitch this time. I've got
look at that.
I've got the guide. I've got the official Prima guide. I think
It's the
Joseph
Prima
Kelly
guide,
probably put
okay.
this together. It's Prima's Secrets of the Game. So I'm
Holy
all set.
smokes! Well,
Good
we're
for you.
set.
Secrets of the game.
Is that
Yeah.
cheating? No, that's not cheating.
Oh, we're
Well,
gonna
you
finish
know-
it tomorrow then.
Yeah, I want to get this framed. Just like an 8x10 of Quan Chi
Oh, look
here,
at
just
that.
in front
Yeah.
of a blue screen. Yeah.
If you somehow scan that, Dan, can you send that to me? Because I just want to put Mike's face on it.
Oh, I
yeah,
do that.
of
Yeah.
course. Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
fantastic.
Makes sense.
Voicemail dump truck popping off on Thursdays. Jeff, is there a Jeff Just coming out this week?
There most certainly is, Jan. Thank you for asking. Friends, if you are unaware of Diamond is Unbreakable, let me tell you something. The train actually goes off the rails. We're only on episode 3 of this season, and it is phenomenal. So make sure you tune in, subscribe,
Lovely,
download it,
lovely.
listen to it. There you go.
It seemingly seems like we will have a classic UPF. We'll bring a grab bag of games this week, a bunch of stuff, a variety show of sorts. BCR this week forgot to schedule who's on the show and forgot to schedule a topic, but we'll go and do that at least by tomorrow. As we said yesterday on the GB Plays during Helldivers 2, exciting plans planned for PAX East. We will be headed there. We hope to see you there. Hope to shake some hands, kiss babies. My offer is still open to kiss you on the mouth, but you have to claim it. Dan is shaking his head no. And I think that's just, yeah. You don't do that with Dan. We can do
That's
that.
Jan's gimmick.
Yeah, that's, God, why does that have to be my gimmick? God,
You walked into that, Jan.
why did I dig this hole and just continue digging
It's a
down?
you thing,
You're
Jan.
like, I think I'll move
Sleep
into
in
this
it.
hole. Yeah.
Oh wow, this hole's like a little comfortable. Oh,
A
cool.
lot of
There's holes
room in
for
this
me.
hole. Yeah.
Oh, there's cards here. Oh man.
Good internet.
Oh, there's like a slot to keep putting my money in. It doesn't really do anything. I just lose the money. Anyway, I've been Jan. He's been Jeff. He's been Jeff. He's been Dan. And you have been wonderful. If you got no one to give flowers to tomorrow, go and give them to yourself. You deserve your flowers. Stop waiting for somebody to give you flowers. Go buy them yourself, even if it's just a pocket of dandelions or whatever. We'll see you next week for another episode of the Giant Bombcast. Love you. One. Oh, all right. All right.
Oh, all right.
Let's go to time.is, clap and beep
You
one
got
more time.
Link to Wario 64 right now. Walgreens has a free 8x10 print with a code. And I should I just get the Quan Chi or like what's the funniest 8x10 you could get?
I mean,
And frame and put up.
Quan Chi probably is the funniest thing
Yeah,
you can get.
that
Yeah.
seems like the move.
Probably do that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, man. I feel like Wario's listening right now. Thank you for the code,
Yeah.
Wario.
And I'll
Thank
get
you,
Mitch to
Wario.
sign it.
Oh, that'll be cute. And we should get 2 and we leave one in the fandom office and don't tell Emma.
Yeah. Just put it on the set.
All right. I've got time.is up.
Same.
Me too.
Ready to go.
All right. Let us clap and beep respectively at 45 and 50. Beautiful.
Beeped.
Beautiful.
Beep beep.
Alrighty.
Ooh, update.
What?
Barbara Jan is down to
Oh,
train and
no.
compete for Pokemon Worlds.
Feeling
boy.
strong now.
Oh man.
Ugh, I have to go shovel a bunch of snow.
Do you have a shovel?
I have many shovels. I also have an electric snow blower. But there's like 10 inches of snow. It's a lot.
Ugh.
Hey, if anyone out there has odd regional conventions that happen in your town, please send them our way.
Absolutely go. Especially if it happens to be in like the upper Midwest.
I would love to see you, Dan, like tossing up like a pizza pie at like one of those.
I want to see.
I would love to do that.
I want to see Dan exploring the mall that Epic bought.
Yeah.
I might have been there. I've been there a bunch. Like Cary, North Carolina. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a folder yet? No.
Negative.
Let's see it.
All right, I got it.
Okay, beautiful.
Which episode is this? 8 to
7.
7.
All right. Where should we raid? Who is streaming?
Let's see here. Yeah, kiddo, what's up? Yeah, I'm almost done.
Oh,
Just hold your
Valentine's
horses.
Day, you stupid day.
Wow, you don't like something?
All right.
Oh, bye YouTube. We're still there. Bye.
Huh.
Bye, YouTube.